intervals. Do what you can, to improve your own habits in your daily life. And if necessary, potentially starting medication as prescribed by your doctor to lower your risk, for heart disease, strokes, and even losing your arms or legs because you don't have, good blood flow to these parts of your body.
All right, Dr. Anna Yang, we appreciate your time as always on the Action News 5 digital desk. Very informative this morning. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. Dietitians, boy, they play such an important role when it comes to helping people understand the connection between food and nutrition and how it can impact our lives. Let's bring in our friend, our clinical dietitian for Regional One Health. We got Quinay Johnson joining us once again on the Action News 5 digital desk. Quinay, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well. Good morning, everyone. And nice to be back.
Yes. Always good to have you. So we know that there are a lot of processed foods, ultra processed foods, and the way that they are processed affects how healthy they are or how unhealthy they are, I guess I should say. Can you explain the difference between processed foods, what that means, ultra processed foods, and best practices to avoid them?
I like to think of processing as modification. So there's a scale when it comes to processed foods, and it can be subjective, but the things that are constant are minimally processed and ultra processed. Minimally processed or minimally altered food can be your apple, for an example. You pick it straight off the tree, that's as minimally processed as it can get, versus ultra processed foods. It can be like an applesauce that has corn syrup added to it to make it sweet and also has preservatives within it to make sure it lasts long on the shelf and doesn't make you sick, or apple juice with added sweeteners such as corn syrup.
That's good to know. That's a good distinction, Quinay. Thank you. And food choices, it's so hard for so many people out there. I mean, price is obviously a factor for so many people out there because grocery store prices, as you know, I mean, they've gone through the roof over the last several years. How do we make good food choices? If you had to just kind of give people maybe 3 bullet points on how to make good food choices, what would you tell them?
I would say knowing how to read a food label and understanding ingredients within the list on the back of food can help you make better options. To limit the amount of ultra processed ingredients you consume could be a great place to start. 2, making things more convenient for you. For an example, investing into buying frozen foods or still buying fresh foods and having tools at home to make sure that it's a quicker process for you to have food available so that you can make healthier options is number 2. And then 3, again, preparation is best, but having like fresh fruits and vegetables to snack on to make sure that you're getting a lot of vitamins and minerals as best as possible and not being enticed to buy fast food because you don't have any fresh fruit available at home is a third way to make healthier choices.
Where do people make the biggest mistakes, Quinay, when it comes to shopping at grocery stores?
Ooh, that's a great question. I believe the biggest mistake that can happen is to just not be intentional when it comes to going grocery shopping. So if you set time out before going to make a list and checking the boxes as to making sure that you have fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, lean meats, grains, and whole grains, and things of that nature before you go into the grocery store. That can help alleviate some of the issues when it comes to making mistakes at the grocery store. And then also going to the grocery store hungry, don't do it because you're always going to impulsively buy something versus getting the things that you need to maintain a healthy lifestyle.
Oh, yeah, I've made that mistake plenty of times. And then I come home and I'm like, what is all this stuff? So, okay, let's talk about suggestions, easy ways, friendly reminders to make it easier to eat healthier each and every day.
One great way to make things easier for yourself is to, again, make a grocery list before you go to the grocery store. Buy things that you're more motivated to eat at home that are still healthy. For an example, I love pineapples. Pineapples, I believe, are in season right now, or apples, and having foods that are less processed or have less ingredients in them to complement those things. So I'm allergic to peanut butter, so I don't do that, but I do sunflower butter. That's something that I could pair with apples, and that's a great snack to have. Also, I'm trying to think of another way. Oh, buying frozen foods. That can be a cheap and also affordable way to get vegetables and fruits in that aren't as processed as per se your canned foods that have added salt in them, or for fruit, canned fruits with corn syrup added into them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
yeah.
that's good. That's good. Let's talk about just, final question, just the main point you want people to remember when it comes to sticking to a healthy diet and how it affects our health.
The biggest thing that I want to be taken away from this is preparation saves a lot of heartache. If you go into something intentionally and have a game plan, you're more likely to succeed or win the game versus just going in willy-nilly, no practice, trying to be Michael Jordan.
Quinay Johnson has jokes on a Tuesday. Thank you, Quinay. I appreciate that. We always appreciate what you do as a clinical dietitian at Regional One Health. Thanks again for joining us on the Digital Desk.
Thank you so much, and I'm hoping that everyone has a great day. It was nice talking with you.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I want to tell you about the Orpheum Theater Group. They have announced the return of Camp Say. This is for young people. It's a free 2-day camp for young people who stutter, ages 8 to 18. Joining me now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, I'm joined by Jennifer McGrath. She is Vice President of Education, Community Engagement, and Halloran Center Programming. Jennifer, this sounds like a great camp, and because of its success, it's back again this year. Tell me about it. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Delighted to be here, and thank you for giving us the time and space to share about this program. We run this program, Camp Say, which is a mini 2-day camp that happens twice a year at the Orpheum's Halloran Center, in partnership with an international organization called SAY, the Stuttering Association for the Young, which is based out of New York City. And essentially what we're doing at Camp Say is that we are bringing young people together in community who stutter and giving them as much time as they need to speak, because we believe what they have to say matters. So a lot of people don't know over 71 million people in the world stutter. And oftentimes these young people can be suffering in silence, right? Maybe they're being bullied for the way they talk, or maybe they're nervous or afraid to raise their hand in class, right? And the only difference between a person who stutters and a person who doesn't is that it just takes them a little bit more time to say what they have to say. So this isn't speech therapy. This isn't about correcting anything. This is about saying we believe the way you speak is absolutely wonderful and beautiful, and we want to provide the time and the space for you to say it and to be able to be creative and be in community with other young people just like you.
That sounds great. Tell me about it, about the camp last year. Was it well attended? How many kids showed up?
Yeah, so we have been running, we actually just calculated this because we have been running this partnership for almost 7 years. So this will actually be our 13th time running Camp Say across the USA in Memphis. We started out in 2018. It was a once a year program, sort of a pilot to see how it went. And then it grew and grew and grew. And so now we're up to doing it twice a year, once in the fall, once in the spring. And the enrollment only continues to skyrocket. What's really special is we have young people that have been coming since that very first year, that were maybe 8 years old when they came, and now 7 years later, they're still coming, and they've been coming every time, which is wonderful because we're really able to build long-standing relationships with those young people and their families, because we're also connecting the families. But also every time we open enrollment, it never ceases to amaze how many new people come out of the woodwork to sign up, which I think just demonstrates the need. The camp is very well attended, and I think it's worth saying this time around, we've seen an overwhelming and even greater interest and enrollment. So if you are a young person who stutters, or you know someone who is and you're interested in enrolling, we really want you to enroll immediately, because for the first time ever, we may have to move to a wait list. We're getting close to capacity for the program, which is a great problem to have, but we want to make sure we're able to serve as many young people as possible.
That definitely sounds fantastic, and I'm glad to hear that it's almost, I guess you could say, sell out, or moving to a bigger venue. If people are watching right now, they want to get some information on best ways to register and be a part of it all. When is it? How do we register? That sort of thing. How much does it cost?
Absolutely. Well, the best part about it is that it's offered completely free. This is part of our continuing work at the Orpheum and the Halloran Center. We believe that everyone should have access to quality arts education. And so we are working really hard to remove as many barriers as possible. We know in Memphis that cost can often be a barrier. So the camp is completely free to attend, and we provide breakfast and lunch, as well as a camp t-shirt and all the supplies that a young person needs. So really all they have to do is show up. They do need to register in advance, as you said, though, so we know that they're coming. The dates of the camp are Saturday and Sunday, November 22nd and 23rd, 2025, held right here at the Halloran Center. And to register, all you need to do is go to orpheum-memphis.com, go to our education page, and there's a Camp Say page. There's a link to fill out all the information. We just, of course, need the usual information so we can know who's coming and keep them safe and know a little bit about more about the campers. And there's also, like I sort of mentioned earlier, that we talk to the families. There's also an optional caregiver workshop and support group, because we really believe in addressing the whole family. And so we really encourage also the parents and caregivers to get involved, to connect, to meet other families, so that the friendships of both the young people and the family members that are caring for youth who stutter can last beyond camp.
Fantastic. So this is November 22nd, 23rd. This is the weekend prior to Thanksgiving. Anything else we can touch on, Jennifer, before we let you go? It really sounds great.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear you say that. I think one of the greatest things about this camp is that it demonstrates the power of the arts and how transformative it can be. Like I said earlier, it shows young people that they are not alone, right? A lot of young people who stutter maybe think they're the only person in the world that talks that way, or that no one will ever give them the time that they need to finish their sentences. And at Camp Say, we're sort of completely dispelling all of those myths, right? We're showing them that they're not alone. We're putting them in community with other young people. people, we are validating and affirming and letting them know. We want them to have all the time that they need to speak. And when you do that, when you give the simple gift of time and space and creative materials, and you allow people to express themselves, the things that we see and learn and create together, they build empathy, they help us become better communicators, better critical thinkers, collaborators, and honestly, most importantly, we just get to have a lot of fun. These are young people, and we want them to have some joy in their lives, and Camp Say certainly allows them to do that.
Fantastic. Jennifer McGrath, we really appreciate your time, and congratulations on another year of this great camp, Camp Say, that is going to be November 22nd, 23rd, a free camp for young folks who stutter. Appreciate your time on the digital desk. Good luck this year. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. 8:01 is the time. I'm Andrew Douglas. There's a live look from our High Five camera outside downtown Memphis. 50 degrees. Look at the sky, the temperature. It feels great. It's going to feel even better later today. We have temperatures that are expected to be in the 70s today. We'll get to the forecast in just a little bit, but first we want to get to some of the top stories that we are following at this hour. Memphis police investigating a shooting in South Memphis just after 2 o'clock this morning. This is Hillview and Holmes. Investigators say one person was shot. They drove themselves to a nearby fire station, later taken to the hospital in non-critical condition. Still no word on what caused this horrific crash that killed 7 people and injured multiple others. UPS plane crashed during takeoff yesterday afternoon in Louisville, Kentucky. Just an awful scene. We'll continue to keep you updated on this tragic situation. DeSoto County voters went and cast their ballots yesterday. More than 20,000 ballots were cast. We have the results for District 1, 2, 11, and 19. This is District 1. You can see it here. Republican Michael McClendon beat Democrat Chris Hanna. In District 2, we have Democrat Teresa Gillespie Isom defeated Republican Charlie Hoots. In District 11, Democrat Reginald DeJuan Jackson beat Republican Kendall Pruitt. And in District 19, Republican Kevin Blackwell defeated Democrat Diane Dotson Black for that Senate seat. Shelby County Republican Party wants more data from the Memphis Safe Task Force, mainly around arrests and prosecutions. In a resolution, they're requesting the federal government implement mechanisms for tracking and reporting the results of all arrests made under the Memphis Safe Task Force, including those charges prosecuted by the Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy. They're also looking for records of prosecutions, plea deals, sentencing outcomes, and recidivism rates. They say prevent any local leniency from squandering the task force achievements. Let's take a look at the Memphis Safe Task Force numbers. They have now arrested more than 2,000 people since they started at the end of September. 345 illegal guns taken off the streets and seized. The task force says 89 missing children have been found as well. SNAP recipients are not receiving their benefits this month. The U.S. Senate did not pass the continuing resolution to open the government. Republicans and 3 Democrats voted for it, but 60 votes are needed for it to pass. Yesterday, the president wrote on Truth Social that SNAP benefits will only resume when Democrats reopen the government. The White House confirmed the administration will partially fund SNAP during the shutdown, but warned it'll take some time to see those benefits. A scheduled meeting is set for tomorrow around a new legal challenge to force the Department of Agriculture to provide full food SNAP benefits for November. Meanwhile, Republicans in the Senate are urging more Democrats to support the continuing resolution, open the federal government, and stop the gridlock. The suspended executive director of Shelby County's Office of Reentry, DeAndre Brown, is out on bond. A Shelby County judge allowed him to post bond yesterday. A bond company out of South Carolina paid it. Brown and his wife Vanessa are accused of stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from Lifeline to Success, a nonprofit he and his wife ran together. State investigators say that money, mostly from grants, was used for personal use, like paying mortgages and a vacation to Jamaica. They're both back in court on December 5th. Memphis City Council unanimously approved Memphis Mayor Paul Young's pick for Fire Chief Colin Burris. He is a 28-year veteran of the department. He now leads one of the largest fire departments in the country, 1,700 firefighters and more than 50 stations citywide. He's a North Memphis native, a Lemoyne Owen and Christian Brothers High School grad. He holds 2 master's degrees. He says recruiting and training new firefighters will be his top priorities. His appointment comes on the heels of the Memphis City Council agreeing to give Memphis firefighters a 2% raise, making the total pay raise to 5%, as the union says it was promised. The union agreed to drop its lawsuit against the city of Memphis. The brand new Memphis Zoo Lantern Festival has been nominated for Best Zoo Lights in USA Today's 10 Best Reader's Choice Awards. The zoo's first year offering this experience in our city is this year. You can vote each day now through December 1st. You can also find a link on our website, actionnews5.com. The festival runs on select nights between November 14th and February 1st, so you can check it out for yourselves. 5 Memphis restaurants, including The Lobbyist, Andrew Michael's Italian Kitchen, Felisa Suzanne's, and Petals of Pony, landed on the inaugural Michelin Guide to the American South. Hog and Hominy also earned the Bib Gourmand honor, just one of 50 restaurants nationwide to receive it. The Lobbyist chef, Jessica Lambert, says the recognition highlights the creativity across Memphis dining. It all comes as Downtown Dining Week kicks off, giving locals a perfect reason to try them out. 3 restaurants in Oxford are also Michelin recommended: Ajax, City Grocery, and Snack Bar. Taylor Grocery was also placed on the list. Let's get another update on our forecast with meteorologist Patrick Ellis.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Wednesday morning. Lots of sunshine, maybe a passing cloud or two, a southwest breeze flow at 10 miles per hour. That pushes the temperatures up from the morning 50s to the 70s this afternoon. We'll call it the mid 70s actually here, and that is a far cry from where we started off the week at, and also where we should be for this time of the year, about 5 to 7 degrees above normal. A pretty stout cold front, though, on the way as we head towards the upcoming weekend across the Mid-South. That will usher in a big blast of cold air direct out of Canada, but it comes by way of a couple of different systems. The first system will come through the area as we head towards the afternoon and evening hours of your Friday. That could kick off a few showers and thunderstorms, widely scattered in nature, and then a risk for maybe a gusty storm or two. Behind that, another system will come through the area Saturday into Sunday. That will usher in the colder air that will be more reminiscent of December, not necessarily November. Here's a look at that risk for a few stronger storms coming up on Friday. Again, this will be Friday afternoon and evening. Marginal risk that would include much of West Tennessee and North Mississippi. And there is a slight risk shoehorned in all of this that would more so include Middle Tennessee, but it does clip a part of the Action News 5 coverage area. I think the higher potential, again, near into the east of the Tennessee River for that potential. So we'll just give it a level 1 out of 5 risk. 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Friday. Strong winds being the primary issue. Can't rule out some hail. There's still a little bit of spin in the atmosphere, especially farther north of I-40 that you go. There may be a slightly better chance that there could be a brief spin-up tornado north of I-40 going into the afternoon, early evening. But keep in mind, this is going to come and go pretty quickly in the grand scheme of things. And behind that system, there's not a lot of cooler air locked up behind it for Saturday. Saturday actually still ends up being a pretty decent day here across the Mid-South. This is lunchtime on Friday. I want to fast forward, give you that first alert to that chance for rain and storms coming into the fold. And again, it will get through early afternoon without much fanfare. 3, 4 o'clock, we start to see a few isolated showers and thunderstorms beginning to develop right around sunset. Those showers and storms will quickly erupt, move off to the east, and again, quickly, by the time we get towards 10 o'clock, most of the showers and storms out towards Middle Tennessee, East Tennessee, And we're drying out and clearing out in the wake of all of this. But there is at least a risk for a few stronger storms that we'll keep a close eye on for that. Then the bigger blast of colder air will move in here, the secondary front that will move through the area. Again, Saturday still ends up in the 70s. 50s for highs on Sunday. Cold northwest wind blowing in here, and that will usher in even colder air, taking us into your Monday before we slowly begin to rebound in the extended range. Of course, stay up to date with the very latest anytime and everywhere on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. You can download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. 74 for today, tomorrow 76 on Friday. And again, there could be a few storms. We'll keep a close eye on that. We'll be the first to alert you to any changes. But right now, I think that the storms are going to be so widely spaced that many of you will probably get away with the time frame dry, and the risk is overall pretty low. But we're going to keep an eye on it because there is at least some indication and some ingredients in play for a strong storm that could prompt a warning or two during late Friday afternoon into the evening hours. Much quieter for Saturday. Here comes the cold front moving into the area that will take us into your Sunday into Monday, down to 34 degrees going into your your Monday morning. Speaking of Monday morning, here in the city, 34. Outlying areas in the 20s. You see 28 in Ripley, Mississippi, Hayti, Missouri, 28 in Blytheville, Arkansas, 31 in Marks, Mississippi, and Clarksdale, Mississippi, with only a high of 48. And guess what? There's even colder weather early on Tuesday morning. Mid-20s across many sections of the Action News 5 coverage area. We'll be right around freezing here in the city. So our first widespread frost and freeze of the season likely coming up here as we go into the early portions of next week. Now, we will not stay in this realm the entire week ahead, but we will at least have to tangle with that. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, is this where we should be? Well, obviously, no. The average high is about 67, 66 degrees this time of the year. But is it out of the bounds of reality to see a frost and freeze this time of the year? Absolutely not. This is about where we would normally see our first frost and freeze of the season. First frost, November 3rd. First freeze, November 14th. We're within the bounds of that. So this is about where we should be seeing these things occurring. But there is a quick rebound. Again, this is the month of transition. October and November, typically more months of transition for us, that we go from the much warmer temperatures like we had at the early portion of October, and then all of a sudden we start going through these ebbs and flows here through November that, yeah, will be more reminiscent of winter from time to time and more reminiscent of fall other times as we warm back up closer to 70 degrees through the end of next week.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. The issue of ADHD is certainly on the minds of a lot of people across the country. It's been in headlines for a long time. Of course, there's always an emphasis on that, the condition, how to treat it, how to prevent it. And joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, we are joined by someone who's done a significant amount of research with regards to ADHD. I'm joined right now by the Dean of the College of Health Sciences at the University of Memphis, Dr. Richard Bloomer. He is joining us now to talk a little bit more, do a deep dive into ADHD. Richard, very nice to meet you. First off, tell me about some of the research that you've done regarding this condition. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Andrew. Thanks so much for having me today. We do work primarily with nutritional interventions, both whole food nutrition as well as dietary supplementations, or what we might refer to as nutraceuticals. And we know the power of nutrition and the power of nutraceuticals, and some of those intervention studies actually lend itself to seeing some benefits with individuals diagnosed with ADHD.
So tell me about ADHD in 2025. How prevalent is it? Are more people being diagnosed with it? And what are you seeing from your vantage point?
As most individuals know, ADHD is a neurobehavioral disorder characterized by hyperactivity, inattention, and compulsive behavior. Unfortunately, we see a diagnosis rate or a prevalence rate of about 10 to 11% in children in the US aged 3 to 17. And we see more individuals diagnosed who are boys versus girls, higher prevalence in those living in poverty versus those who are not, and about 6% in the adult population. The typical treatment strategies would include medication and behavioral intervention, but what's not often discussed is the role of nutrition and how nutrient intake could really have a significant impact on the symptoms of those suffering with ADHD.
Let's talk more about that aspect, because I understand that perhaps prescription medicine, in your view, may be something that could take a back seat to more of a dietary or nutritional supplementation. Is that right?
Well, I certainly don't want to take the place of a physician that's prescribing medication. Patients always should consult with their healthcare provider on what they should and should not be doing. What we know, based on the scientific evidence, not my opinion, is that nutrient intake, as well as some other lifestyle interventions, can have a significant impact on the symptoms of those dealing with ADHD. First and foremost, we look at maintaining a very regular schedule, going to bed at the same time each night, waking up at the same time each day, obtaining adequate and quality nightly sleep of about 8 or more hours per day, engaging in structured physical activity and regular exercise, and then hopefully adopting a dietary strategy that includes what we might consider to be a very pure or a clean diet. And what the scientific literature indicates is that there's been many studies involving many different dietary approaches, but the one that seems to rise to the top is what we would refer to as an elimination diet. And that particular diet essentially eliminates a lot of the foods that we see so prevalent in our society today. Those would be things such as processed foods, highly processed foods, packaged foods. Sometimes eliminating dairy seems to have an impact. Sometimes, for some individuals, eliminating gluten products or grains seems to have an impact, and certainly products that have added sugar. So a purified diet essentially would include lean meats, chicken, turkey, fish, some lean red meat as well, vegetables, fruits, and some legumes and some whole grains as well. That sort of dietary approach we see in the science actually shows to be most effective for individuals that do have ADHD.
Very interesting. I'm very interested in what you're talking about and some of the science and research that you've uncovered. So if someone is watching out there, and we have thousands of people who watch each and every morning, Richard, and they have a family member who has been diagnosed with ADHD, where should they begin? Should they begin this kind of elimination diet and perhaps go all in on a clean diet with, no processed foods, gluten-free, dairy-free? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good approach. Certainly, they do want to have conversations with their physician. We in no way, as a research scientist, want to take the place of a clinician telling individuals to cease medication. That would be very irresponsible for someone to do. But I think talking with a quality registered licensed dietitian nutritionist to get some insight as to what to do and how to make this happen would be a really good first step. And then adopting a dietary strategy that, yes, indeed, does include a purified approach. Parents that have children with ADHD should not be buying boxed packaged foods on a regular basis. That's a big mistake. I think most people would be well served by essentially eliminating shopping within the aisles of the grocery store and shopping the perimeter of that store. So you're eating foods essentially that if they sat on a shelf for days, they would rot. So we're looking at good quality produce, good quality whole meats, potentially some other products that could be adjuncts to those, such as beans, legumes, nuts, and seeds. But that sort of approach does seem to work well. And then we can look at some dietary supplements that may complement some of the things that people potentially could be missing. And there are many, including things such as fish oil, vitamin D3, a good multivitamin mineral, zinc, iron. Even saffron has been used in combination with some of the medication treatments for ADHD with some effect. So there certainly are lifestyle approaches I think that people should absolutely adopt if they're really looking for the best benefit.
I find this all very fascinating, Richard. Thank you so much for this. I have a family member and actually multiple family members that have been diagnosed with ADHD. But you know, this diet that you're talking about, it actually sounds like a diet we should all take in some form or fashion. Very healthy, very clean, something that's not processed, and something that I think would have multiple benefits no matter who you are, whether you're diagnosed or not diagnosed.
You're absolutely right. It's the diet that I try to adopt on a very regular basis and have done so for many years. Of course, I like some carbohydrate as well in the form of rice and pasta, but clearly from a metabolic or a cardiometabolic perspective, if our population would adopt a diet similar to what I'm describing here, the healthcare economy would be in much better condition and people would feel and perform much better. So if we can get that message across, Andrew, I think we're doing something really good.
Agreed, for sure. Is there a place online, perhaps, Richard, where we can find some of this research that you just talked about? It's very valuable.
There is. I would strongly recommend, rather than people doing Google searches and reading various authors, to go directly to the source data. And that could be found on a website called PubMed, P-U-B-M-E-D, PubMed. People can just do a search for that. And it's a national database, and many, not all, but many scientific studies that have been published will be available there. Sometimes they could read the full text article. Sometimes they'll just have access to the abstract, but they will at least be able to see, is this valuable for me to consider? And they would simply type in something along the lines of ADHD and elimination diet, or food or few foods diet, or something along those lines. And they'll be able to see the scientific studies that are specific to that topic.
Dr. Richard Bloomer, Dean of the College of Health Sciences at the University of Memphis, I really appreciate your conversation and the research for this topic. Thank you so much for coming on the Action News 5 Digital Desk and talking about a very important issue that is so prevalent to so many families out there. We appreciate your time and invite you to come on anytime. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Well, believe it or not, we are within 100 days until the 2026 Winter Olympic Games. And of course, there's going to be so much fanfare. It's in Italy this year. And there is an elite group of athletes. And of course, that includes some soldiers from the U.S. Army who are serving their country in more ways than one, specifically Staff Sergeant Deidre Irwin. She is preparing for her second Olympic appearance in the biathlon after a 7th place finish in 2022's Winter Olympic Games in Beijing. And she hopes to bring the first medal in the sport to the U.S. She is joining me right now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, Staff Sergeant Deidre Irwin. Good morning to you. First, give me a little bit of background on who you are, where you're from, how long you've been in the Army. Good morning.
Morning. Thanks for having me. So I'm originally from Green Bay, Wisconsin area. I started skiing when I was 16 years old. And I started biathlon when I was about 25 years old, right before I joined the military. And so biathlon is a combination of Nordic skiing and precision rifle marksmanship. It's super unique winter sport that not a lot of people know about, but it's a really incredible, diverse sport where you have to have the endurance of Nordic skiing and then the precision of rifle marksmanship. And so I joined the military in 2019. And I've been, competing for the U.S. Army World Class Athlete Program for this last Olympic cycle. And we're really excited to try and get the first Olympic medal for the U.S. biathlon.
Well, congratulations, and I appreciate you giving us a background. I do remember watching the biathlon. This is where, correct me if I'm wrong, this is where, the athletes ski like crazy. They try to go as fast as they can, and then they pull out a gun and start shooting target practice. I know that's a rough description, but is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah, it's a rough description, but it's totally accurate. We're skiing our hearts out there, and then we have to get on the range, and we have to completely switch mentalities to all of a sudden become a calm, cool, and focused precision shooter. It's not really two sports you would think that would go together, but it's incredibly unique, and it's exciting because of that, because you never know who's going to hit all their targets or who's going to ski the fastest. And every day there can be a completely different athlete on the podium.
I love that. All right. Well, how does someone get into the idea of saying, you know what, I'm going to train for the U.S. Olympics? Oh, yeah? What are you going to train for? I'm going to train for a biathlon. Like, how did you come to that conclusion?
Yeah, so I grew up Nordic skiing, and in college I Nordic skied. And when I was thinking about retiring from it, I had a friend reach out to me and tell me about the sport of biathlon. And I didn't grow up, hunting or shooting or anything like that. So when I first got behind that rifle, it was the coolest thing I'd ever experienced. And then, like you said, adding that uniqueness of skiing as fast as you can and then trying to get on the mat and stop and shoot. It was addicting every single time I was able to hit a target. And so I think it's one of those things where for me, it kind of just fell into my lap and ended up becoming, just part of my path to, the Olympics that I didn't really know I was going to, pursue when I was younger, growing up wanting to be an Olympian.
Fantastic. Wait, did you say the coolest thing and you're talking about the Winter Olympics? Just kidding. I'll let that go, Deidre. Okay,
yes.
Cool.
Great puns. Great puns.
Yeah. So tell me about how the U.S. Army has really supported your journey here with the Olympics.
Yeah, so being able to be a full-time soldier in the U.S. Army, specifically with the U.S. Army World Class Athlete Program, it's been incredible. They've been able to take a lot of those stressors that you normally have as a professional athlete, especially as an Olympian. A lot of us, are in such unique sports that we're not able to get all the cool sponsor deals and everything like that to make it a full career. And so the U.S. Army has been able to help me in giving me a full-time competitive salary, the health benefits, student loan repayment, all of that stuff has been a weight taken off of my shoulders. So I can just really pursue and focus on just being an elite athlete and, being, another pun, all I can be in the Army, and so, trying to make it towards that Olympic podium.
Tell me about other soldiers that are part of the Olympic team in the U.S.
Yeah, so the U.S. Army World Class Athlete Program has soldiers in many sports, from wrestling to bobsled, track and field, Nordic skiing, and biathlon, like I'm in. And we all have different military jobs, Army jobs. So, like, I'm a human resource specialist. You have people who are truck drivers, infantrymen, supply sergeants. So we have these dual careers, which is really amazing because we're able to pursue our Olympic dreams and our Olympic potential while also building careers in the U.S. Army that when we do decide to retire from sport, we're able to fall back and have very successful, very fulfilling careers with the U.S. Army.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, if someone's watching right now, and we have thousands who watch each and every morning here on the Digital Desk, if someone's watching, they want to support you and your journey, what can they do, Deidre?
Well, they can definitely follow me and find me on Instagram if you specifically want to watch biathlon. But you can also go to goarmy.com if you want to figure out how to be a soldier yourself, or find out more about the other U.S. Army WCAP World Class Athlete Program soldiers in all the different sports.
Fantastic. Staff Sergeant Deidre Irwin headed to the Olympics, the Winter Olympics in Italy. Thanks for coming on the Digital Desk. Congratulations on all your success. And we're going to be rooting you on here in Memphis and the Mid-South as the games begin. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk here on a Wednesday morning. Lots of sunshine, maybe a passing cloud or two, a southwest breeze flow at 10 miles per hour. That pushes the temperatures up from the morning 50s to the 70s this afternoon. We'll call it the mid 70s actually here, and that is a far cry from where we started off the week at, and also where we should be for this time of the year, about 5 to 7 degrees above normal. A pretty stout cold front, though, on the way as we head towards the upcoming weekend across the Mid-South that will usher in a big blast of cold air direct out of Canada, but it comes by way of a couple of different systems. The first system will come through the area as we head towards the afternoon and evening hours of your Friday. That could kick off a few showers and thunderstorms, widely scattered in nature, and then a risk for maybe a gusty storm or two. Behind that, another system will come through the area Saturday into Sunday. That will usher in the colder air that will be more reminiscent of December, not necessarily November. Here's a look at that risk for a few stronger storms coming up on Friday. Again, this will be Friday afternoon and evening. Marginal risk that would include much of West Tennessee and North Mississippi. And there is a slight risk shoehorned in all of this that would more so include Middle Tennessee, but it does clip a part of the Action News 5 coverage area. I think the higher potential, again, near into the east of the Tennessee River for that potential. So we'll just give it a level 1 out of 5 risk. 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Friday. Strong winds being the primary issue. Can't rule out some hail. And there's still a little bit of spin in the atmosphere, especially farther north of I-40 that you go. There may be a slightly better chance that there could be a brief spin-up tornado north of I-40 going into the afternoon, early evening. But keep in mind, this is going to come and go pretty quickly in the grand scheme of things. And behind that system, there's not a lot of cooler air locked up behind it for Saturday. Saturday actually still ends up being a pretty decent day here across the Mid-South. This is lunchtime on Friday. I want to fast forward, give you that first alert to that chance for rain and storms coming into the fold. And again, it will get through early afternoon without much fanfare. 3, 4 o'clock, we start to see a few isolated showers and thunderstorms beginning to develop right around sunset. Those showers and storms will quickly erupt, move off to the east, and again, quickly, by the time we get towards 10 o'clock, most of the showers and storms out towards Middle Tennessee, East Tennessee, and we're drying out and clearing out in the wake of all of this. But there is at least a risk for a few stronger storms that we'll keep a close eye on for that. Then the bigger blast of colder air will move in here, the secondary front that will move through the area. Again, Saturday still ends up in the 70s. 50s for highs on Sunday. Cold northwest wind blowing in here, and that will usher in even colder air, taking us into your Monday before we slowly begin to rebound in the extended range. Of course, stay up to date with the very latest anytime and everywhere on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. You can download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. 74 for today, tomorrow 76 on Friday, and again, there could be a few storms. We'll keep a close eye on that. We'll be the first to alert you to any changes. But right now, I think that the storms are going to be so widely spaced that many of you will probably get away with the time frame dry, and the risk is overall pretty low. But we're going to keep an eye on it because there is at least some indication and some ingredients in play for a strong storm that could prompt a warning or two during late Friday afternoon into the evening hours. Much quieter for Saturday. Here comes the cold front moving into the area that will take us into your Sunday into Monday, down to 34 degrees going into your your Monday morning. Speaking of Monday morning, here in the city, 34. Outlying areas in the 20s. You see 28 in Ripley, Mississippi, Hayti, Missouri, 28 in Blytheville, Arkansas, 31 in Marks, Mississippi, and Clarksdale, Mississippi, with only a high of 48. And guess what? There's even colder weather early on Tuesday morning. Mid-20s across many sections of the Action News 5 coverage area. We'll be right around freezing here in the city. So our first widespread frost and freeze of the season likely coming up here as we go into the early portions of next week. Now, we will not stay in this realm the entire week ahead, but we will at least have to tangle with that. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, is this where we should be? Well, obviously, no. The average high is about 67, 66 degrees this time of the year. But is it out of the bounds of reality to see a frost and freeze this time of the year? Absolutely not. This is about where we would normally see our first frost and freeze of the season. First frost, November 3rd. First freeze, November 14th. We're within the bounds of that. So this is about where we should be seeing these things occurring. But there is a quick rebound. Again, this is the month of transition. October and November, typically more months of transition for us, that we go from the much warmer temperatures like we had at the early portion of October, and all of a sudden we start going through these ebbs and flows here through November that, yeah, will be more reminiscent of winter from time to time and more reminiscent of fall other times as we warm back up closer to 70 degrees through the end of next week.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. My next guest is a prolific actor whose career spans more than 30 years. You've seen him in all kinds of movies, iconic films like Dead Poets Society, Reality Bites, Training Day, and Boyhood. And his latest project, he is behind the camera and in front of the camera as an executive producer. He stars in this program, this new series. It's called Lowdown. It's on FX right now, and I have the pleasure of welcoming Ethan Hawke to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Ethan, it's great to meet you. You've been a part of several iconic movies and projects. Tell me what Lowdown, how that came about, and why it is so appealing to you. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Thanks for having me on your show. Yeah, the lowdown started. I was a big fan of Reservation Dogs, a show by Sterling Harjo. It was set in Tulsa. I did a cameo in that show, and I kind of fell in love with that whole community and Sterling and the way he works. And he had this idea of let's make a noir in Tulsa about a truth historian, a Tulsa true historian, a kind of citizen journalist, ne'er-do-well loser who owns a bookshop who can't help but try to tell the truth and change the world, and gets beaten up while he does so. So I don't know. I just fell in love with the whole project, and we're gearing up to release the 8th episode, and I'm excited for people to see it.
Hey, that sounds awesome. I've seen a little bit of it, Ethan, and I certainly relate to it, being a journalist and being that truth seeker. He certainly is one as well, but he's very humorous, and there's some things that are very relatable. Who else would you find maybe could relate to this person? Who's giving you the most feedback in this series, Ethan?
Wow, it's funny. It's as embarrassing as this to say. I think my mother always gives me the most feedback. She's always everything I do. She has got an opinion. This is lousy. This one's good. This one, but she's fallen in love with Lee, and so that makes me feel like I must have done something all right.
Fantastic. Well, tell me where people can see this, how they can watch it, what time, that sort of thing.
All right, so it's shows on FX where you can stream it on Hulu. It's called The Lowdown. It stars Kyle MacLachlan, me, Peter Dinklage, Gene Triplehorn, Tim Blake Nelson, Keith David, a lot of great people. It's a comedy about truth in America.
I love it. I love it. And I got to ask you about a couple other movies, specific ones, personal favorites of mine. Let me talk about Dead Poets Society for a minute. Based on a true story, you starred there with the late, great Robin Williams. Did you ever think, filming this, that it would reach this iconic status?
I cannot imagine that I would have ever thought in 1989, when we were shooting this, that in 2025 I'd be on television being asked questions about it. And I walk around on the street and I'll meet young people that have Carpe Diem tattooed on their arm, and it's an incredible experience to make something that really penetrates not just its audience and its time, but keeps speaking to people. When you're 19, you don't. I guess I was 18. You have no idea what things are going to mean anything. Everything that I was experiencing back then was so new. I guess I thought that's what making a movie was like. I didn't know what a special experience it was.
Yeah. I mean, "Oh, Captain, my Captain." I still quote that, and of course, I showed my kids that movie too when they were little. Another movie I want to ask you about, Reality Bites. It defined a generation. A lot of people think it defined Generation X. Just curious, you ever thought, when you're filming this with Winona Ryder, Ben Stiller, that it would define a generation? That's a big deal.
Yeah, I remember we were at the wrap party and somebody at the table was saying, "I think this movie is going to be a defining movie, what The Graduate was to its time." And I literally thought they were nuts. I thought you such an overblown ego, this person working on the thing. But turns out, a couple of years ago, we had the 25th anniversary, and I watched the movie with a sold out house, and I felt so proud of it. And they were right.
Yeah, no question about it. You should feel proud of it. Finally, I got to ask, we're in Memphis here, North Mississippi, West Tennessee, Eastern Arkansas. You ever been to this area, Memphis or Tennessee?
Are you kidding me? Memphis, Tennessee? I mean, that is one of my favorite places. When my oldest daughter was 13, we've had one of the most memorable trips of my life. I took her to Graceland, and we went to Graceland, and we went to a couple Civil War battlefields. We went to the Lorraine Hotel. We went to Sun Studios. I've been to Memphis for some reason a bunch in my life, and I've never not had a great time. So a big shout out and hello to all the good people in Memphis.
Next time, please come by 1960 Union Avenue. That's where we are, Action News 5. Ethan Hawke, great to chat with you. Really appreciate it. Congratulations on Lowdown. And Congratulations on such a successful career. Thanks for taking the time for us this morning.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You got it. All right. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. There is a new partnership, a collaboration, if you will, with Le Bonheur Children's Hospital and Berkshire Hathaway Hospital. Joining me now to talk about this brand new partnership, I'm joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk with Elizabeth Ennis with Le Bonheur Children's Hospital and Tiffany McLemore with Berkshire Hathaway. They're going to be able to illuminate us and really kind of expand what this partnership means. So, Elizabeth, let me begin with you. Was this a partnership that you were looking for? How did it begin? Good morning.
Good morning. So this is a partnership that started with the Berkshire Hathaway Home Services McLemore and Company Realty wanting to give back to their community. And actually one of their agents saw a post that I put on Instagram and about why I love working with Le Bonheur Children's Hospital and kind of shared it with her group. And that's something that they had already been thinking that they wanted to find a way to serve their community and give back. And so it all just started from a conversation of how they could make a difference with their business and what they do in supporting Le Bonheur Children's Hospital.
And Tiffany, everyone thinks of Berkshire Hathaway, they think of real estate, but here you are partnering with one of the gems in the Memphis community, Le Bonheur Children's Hospital. Tell me how that all came about from your perspective.
Well, just like what Elizabeth said, we had an agent that reached out, and we ended up setting up a sales meeting and a tour of the hospital. Really just fell in love with the heart, behind everything that they do. And Elizabeth and I met for coffee a few weeks later and ended up working out. We had been looking for a way to get back to the community and in a bigger way than just having, multiple different streams of donating, and this would just seem like a great fit. We have several agents who have been touched by Le Bonheur Hospital, and so we're just thrilled for the partnership.
So tell me how it's going to work, Tiffany. I understand it has to deal with when homes are sold. Is that right?
Correct. So whether it's a seller selling a home or a buyer purchasing a home, our agents are donating a portion of their commission, and the company is also making a match donation. So every single house that is bought or sold through our company, there'll be a donation made to Le Bonheur.
Is there a goal in mind, a yearly goal of how much you plan to give?
We're hoping that number comes in, in the potentially $20,000 to $25,000 range. Obviously, the more houses we sell, the more that we're able to donate. And in addition to, the donating per house, we're also going to be partnering on, with them on some of the other events that they have going on within the hospital, potentially as sponsors and things like that.
Elizabeth, back over to you. Tell me about this partnership, what that means to have those kind of donations come in with real estate transactions and where that money could go towards.
Yeah, so we obviously serve all the kids of the community, the Mid-South, and that's what Tiffany's Berkshire Hathaway and McLaurin Services, that's what they do as well. You know, they are out here supporting their community, and we are able to keep, you know, our doors open and doing what we do on a daily basis, thanks to all of that community support. As far as what those donations go to, just supporting the operations of our hospital, different opportunities for growth. We have a brand new CVICU unit. Our neurology unit is world class, and so having those donations and being able to count on those and those partners within the community really helps us continue to grow and expand out to make sure that we are taking care of all the kids and making sure that Le Bonheur is the best place for kids.
It sounds like a win-win-win. I mean, win for Berkshire Hathaway, win for Le Bonheur, win for the kids that are patients there at Le Bonheur Children's Hospital. Final thoughts? I'll open it up to either one of you. Anything else you'd like to mention? Elizabeth, you can go first.
Well, like I said, like Tiffany said, we're just super grateful that they chose to come and tour our facility and see what we do on a daily basis, and that their hearts were touched by what we do. So we're able to continue growing and providing healthcare for the kids of the Mid-South because of partners like Berkshire Hathaway, McLaurin Home Services.
Tiffany?
Yeah, I just want to encourage anybody, if you've not, toured Le Bonheur, or if you're a business and you're looking for a way to partner and give back, it's just phenomenal, the things that they're doing, cutting edge, as she mentioned, heart services for children. And there's so many people in our community, children, obviously, especially, that are impacted from the wonderful things that they do. So.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. There is another hackathon that is being planned on the University of Memphis campus at the FedEx Institute of Technology. This is where a lot of students come together. They collaborate. They take part in workshops, capstone presentations, networking as well. And I want to learn more about the innovation that comes out of this event and other events. I'm joined now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Jessica Lotz. She's with Innovate Memphis to talk more about this event, this hackathon. Jessica, nice to see you again. So tell us about it, because many people that are watching right now may haven't heard about it. Certainly you've talked about it. You've had it in years past. Let's talk about the event that's happening next month. Good morning.
Good morning, and thanks again for having me. Yep, we're running it back. I've been joking that the hackathon is backathon, but we are working with the city of Memphis. And the idea behind this event is the city will give us a handful of challenges that they've had a really hard time solving, or they're just looking for fresh blood and new energy around what can we do to solve these smarter than we have in the past. And so they will present those problems, and then a set of volunteer hackers form teams, and they have 36 hours between Friday afternoon and about midday Sunday to come up with an idea, build a prototype or presentation around what they came up with, and then they present it to a panel of judges. And we have an exciting announcement this week, which is we've had enough sponsorship dollars. Our headliner is Ting Internet, And because of them, we're able to offer some pretty generous cash prizes for teams with the best ideas. So the grand prize team is going to win $2,000, and then we will have 3 different prizes for best in the 3 challenge categories for $1,000 for other teams. So like you mentioned, there's free food, there's swag, there are workshops. You do not have to be a tech genius or expert to participate in this. We will have some workshops that are around learning about different skills like AI and cybersecurity. But we need creative people, we need project managers, and as long as you're 18 or older, you can be any age. It's not just for students. Anybody can participate in this.
All right, so we are looking right now at the flyer, Hack Memphis Fall 2025 City Hackathon. 100 volunteers with technical creative skills will team up over 36 hours to develop and present innovative solutions to 3 civic challenges for the city of Memphis. So I'm curious, Jessica, how did the civic challenges come about, and are we going to use the ideas that come from this hackathon for the city of Memphis and their challenges?
Yeah, I'll start with your second question, actually. So last year, our challenges were around coming up with creative new ways to deal with blight, also coming up with ideas for workforce transportation and how people can work together to make that more accessible. And then the other was just any idea that hackers might have had around smart city and AI technology. So the blight area is really where we've had the most success in taking some of the ideas from the hackathon and bringing them to life with the city. One really good example of that is the city has launched a Blight Zero initiative, and that is where residents, community organizations, small businesses can all volunteer and even get paid in many instances to clean up areas around town that maybe the city just doesn't have enough people and resources to do. So what our hackers did was come up with a task assignment system, where the city staff could say, here are the locations and the types of cleanup activities that we need, like mowing, weedy lots that nobody's taking care of, or picking up tire piles where there's just a lot of trash and debris in unattended areas. So they're able to assign those tasks now, and the volunteers and businesses that are part of Blight Zero can assign those. And then once the city verifies that they've completed the work, they get paid. So that's just one of the many things that have come out of last year's hackathon. This year, the main topics are going to be blight again, but we're really interested in data analysis and predictive analytics. So how can you take all of the different housing and property condition types of data that we have and help us more easily figure out what the priority areas should be and how the city should allocate its resources. The second challenge topic is going to be around small businesses. So when you think about a startup or small business that maybe wants to partner with the city and become an approved vendor and apply for bids and things, how can we make that as easy as possible so that they have a good competitive edge just like everybody else that's more established? And then lastly, one that I'm really excited about is how can we use AI and data training to help people navigate all of the different city resources and just community resources that are out there? So if you think of 211, it's a really, really great system, but you have to click through a lot of things sometimes to find the resource or the service you're looking for and figure out where it's located, what the operating hours are. So we think this is a great area where AI can really help, maybe an interactive chatbot or other ways that people can just in plain and simple language ask, here's what I'm trying to find, and it more easily give you a list of exactly what you're looking for.
It sounds fantastic. It sounds innovative. It sounds great. And so last year, I know that there were a lot of people that signed up. I think it was sold out, if I do remember. How many people do you expect this time? How do people register? And is there a cost involved?
Yeah, I should first mention when this is going to happen. It's going to be November 7th through 9th at the University of Memphis FedEx Institute of Technology. So if you go to hackmemphis.com, you will see exactly how to register. And you can also sign up behind the scenes as a volunteer if you're kind of nervous about spending the whole weekend with us. There's still other ways to get involved. And I'm sorry, can you repeat the other things that I was going to?
Yeah, no problem. So we have it down there is 7th through 9, November 7th through the 9th at the University of Memphis, the FedEx Institute of Technology there. I was just asking, how many people do you anticipate being a part of this? Is there a fee involved, and how people can register?
Yeah, so it's free, but you do have to give us $10 up front when you register. But what happens is we give that $10 right back to you as soon as you show up on Friday the 7th. We just don't want people to sign up and then ghost us. And last year we had about 75 hackers that showed up, and then we had another 25 to 30 volunteers behind the scenes. So it's a pretty big event. I think we ended up with 14 teams that presented a solution at the end of the weekend.
And that's fantastic when it comes to the amount of prize money. I mean, $2,000, that's nice.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Anything else before we let you go, Jessica?
I would just emphasize again for people that are thinking this sounds fun and interesting, but I don't have tech skills. We need you too. We definitely need project managers and creative people and just people that are passionate about these challenge topics that I mentioned. We really need a team that can work together and put all of those different strengths and expertise together. So do not let the technology part scare you away if you're really excited about this event.
All right, Jessica Lotz there with Innovate Memphis, talking about the Memphis Hackathon, November 7th through the 9th at the University of Memphis campus, the FedEx Institute of Technology. One more time, want to show everybody the flyer that they have set up for you. There it is. All right. So listen, Jessica, we appreciate your time on the digital desk. Thanks so very much, and good luck on the event, November 7th through the 9th. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Good morning, everyone. 9 o'clock on the Action News 5 digital desk this Wednesday morning, taking a live look from our High Five camera. As you can see here in Midtown, beautiful conditions outside. Lots of sunshine, not a cloud in the sky, 57 degrees. We'll be talking more about your forecast in just a little bit. But first, I want to get to some of the stories that we are following for you at this hour. First off, we want to update you on something that we were following overnight. This was a shooting that took place in South Memphis around 2 o'clock at Hillview and Holmes. Investigators say one person was shot, drove himself to a nearby fire station. They were taken to the hospital in non-critical condition. Making international headlines is this. Still no word on what caused this horrific crash that killed 7 people, injured multiple others. UPS plane crashed during takeoff yesterday afternoon in Louisville, Kentucky. Just an awful scene here. When we get more information on this, we will certainly pass it along to you. Voters in DeSoto County went to cast their votes after a federal judge panel ordered the state to redraw state legislative districts to include majority black districts in DeSoto County. More than 20,000 ballots were cast yesterday. The results for District 1, 2, 11, and 19. There it is. District 1, Republican Mike McClendon beat Democrat Chris Hanna. The next district, District 2 here, Democrat Teresa Gillespie Isom defeated Republican Charlie Hoots. In District 11, you have Democrat Reginald Dewan Jackson beating Republican Kendall Pruitt. And in District 19, Kevin Blackwell, Republican, defeated Democrat Diane Dotson Black. For more information on that, you can go to our website, actionnews5.com. Shelby County Republican Party wants more data from the Memphis Safe Task Force, mainly around arrests and prosecutions. In a resolution, they're requesting the federal government implement mechanisms for tracking and reporting the results of all arrests made under the Memphis Safe Task Force, including those charges prosecuted by the Shelby County Attorney's Office and Shelby County DA Steve Mulroy. They're also looking for records of prosecutions, plea deals, sentencing outcomes, and recidivism rates. They say prevents any local leniency from squandering the task force achievements. Speaking of the task force, the latest numbers are here. They have now arrested more than 2,000 people since they began in late September. 345 illegal guns seized and taken off the streets. Task force also says 89 missing children have been found. SNAP recipients are not receiving their benefits this month. The U.S. Senate did not pass the continuing resolution to open the government. Republicans and 3 Democrats voted for it, but 60 votes are needed for it to pass the Senate. Yesterday morning, the president wrote on Truth Social that SNAP benefits will only resume when Democrats reopen the government. The White House confirmed the administration will partially fund SNAP during the shutdown, but warned it'll take some time to see those benefits. A hearing is scheduled tomorrow around a new legal challenge to force the Department of Agriculture to provide full food stamp benefits for the month of November. Meanwhile, Republicans in the Senate are urging more Democrats to support the continuing resolution, open the federal government, and stop the gridlock. The suspended executive director of the Shelby County Office of Reentry, DeAndre Brown, is out on bond. A Shelby County judge allowed him to post bond yesterday, and a bond company out of South Carolina paid for it. Brown and his wife, Vanessa, are accused of stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from Lifeline to Success. That's a nonprofit he and his wife ran together. State investigators say that money, mostly from grants, was used for personal use, like paying mortgages and vacations to Jamaica. They're both due back in court December 5th. The Memphis City Council unanimously approved Memphis Mayor Paul Young's pick for Fire Chief Colin Burress. He's a 28-year veteran of the department. He now leads 1,700 firefighters, more than 50 stations citywide. He's a North Memphis native, a Lemoyne, Owen, and Christian Brothers High School grad, holds 2 master's degrees. He says recruiting and training new firefighters will be his top priorities. His appointment comes on the heels of the Memphis City Council agreeing to give Memphis firefighters a 2% raise, taking the total pay raise to 5%. As the union says it was promised, the union agreed to drop its lawsuit against the city of Memphis. The brand new Memphis Zoo Lantern Festival has been nominated for Best Zoo Lights in USA Today's 10 Best Reader Choice Awards. This is the zoo's first year offering this experience. You can vote once each day now through December 1st. You can find the link on our website, actionnews5.com. The festival will run select nights from November 14th through February 1st. And a lot of people talking about this one. 5 Memphis restaurants, including The Lobbyist, Andrew Michael Italian Kitchen, Felicia Suzanne's, and Pedals a Pony, landed on the inaugural Michelin Guide to the American South. Hog and Hominy also earned the Bib Gourmand honor, one of just 50 restaurants to receive it. The Lobbyist chef, Jessica Lambert, says the recognition highlights the creativity across Memphis dining. It all comes out as Downtown Dining Week kicks off, giving locals a perfect reason to try it out. 3 restaurants in Oxford, Mississippi, also on the Michelin recommended list. Ajax Diner, City Grocery on Courthouse Square, Snack Bar, and Taylor Grocery placed on the list. Let's get another update on our forecast.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Wednesday morning. Lots of sunshine, maybe a passing cloud or two, a southwest breeze flow at 10 miles per hour. That pushes the temperatures up from the morning 50s to the 70s this afternoon. We'll call it the mid 70s actually here, and that is a far cry from where we started off the week at, and also where we should be for this time of the year, about 5 to 7 degrees above normal. A pretty stout cold front, though, on the way as we head towards the upcoming weekend across the Mid-South that will usher in a big blast of cold air direct out of Canada, but it comes by way of a couple of different systems. The first system will come through the area as we head towards the afternoon and evening hours of your Friday. That could kick off a few showers and thunderstorms, widely scattered in nature, and then a risk for maybe a gusty storm or two. Behind that, another system will come through the area Saturday into Sunday. That will usher in the colder air that will be more reminiscent of December, not necessarily November. Here's a look at that risk for a few stronger storms coming up on Friday. Again, this will be Friday afternoon and evening. Marginal risk that would include much of West Tennessee and North Mississippi. And there is a slight risk shoehorned in all of this that would more so include Middle Tennessee, but it does clip a part of the Action News 5 coverage area. I think the higher potential, again, near into the east of the Tennessee River for that potential. So we'll just give it a level 1 out of 5 risk. 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Friday. Strong winds being the primary issue. Can't rule out some hail. There's still a little bit of spin in the atmosphere, especially farther north of I-40 that you go, there may be a slightly better chance that there could be a brief spin-up tornado north of I-40 going into the afternoon, early evening. But keep in mind, this is going to come and go pretty quickly in the grand scheme of things. And behind that system, there's not a lot of cooler air locked up behind it for Saturday. Saturday actually still ends up being a pretty decent day here across the Mid-South. This is lunchtime on Friday. I want to fast forward, give you that first alert to that chance for rain and storms coming into the fold. And again, it will get through early afternoon without much fanfare. 3, 4 o'clock, we start to see a few isolated showers and thunderstorms beginning to develop right around sunset. Those showers and storms will quickly erupt, move off to the east. And again, quickly, by the time we get towards 10 o'clock, most of the showers and storms out towards Middle Tennessee, East Tennessee, and we're drying out and clearing out in the wake of all of this. But there is at least a risk for a few stronger storms that we'll keep a close eye on for that. Then the bigger blast of colder air will move in here, the secondary front that will move through the area. Again, Saturday still ends up in the 70s. 50s for highs on Sunday. Cold northwest wind blowing in here, and that will usher in even colder air, taking us into your Monday before we slowly begin to rebound in the extended range. Of course, stay up to date with the very latest anytime and everywhere on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. You can download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. 74 for today, tomorrow 76 on Friday. And again, there could be a few storms. We'll keep a close eye on that. We'll be the first to alert you to any changes. But right now, I think that the storms are going to be so widely spaced that many of you will probably get away with the time frame dry, and the risk is overall pretty low. But we're going to keep an eye on it because there is at least some indication and some ingredients in play for a strong storm that could prompt a warning or two during late Friday afternoon into the evening hours. Much quieter for Saturday. Here comes the cold front moving into the area that will take us into your Sunday into Monday, down to 34 degrees going into your your Monday morning. Speaking of Monday morning, here in the city, 34. Outlying areas in the 20s. You see 28 in Ripley, Mississippi, Hayti, Missouri, 28 in Blytheville, Arkansas, 31 in Marks, Mississippi, and Clarksdale, Mississippi, with only a high of 48. And guess what? There's even colder weather early on Tuesday morning. Mid-20s across many sections of the Action News 5 coverage area. We'll be right around freezing here in the city. So our first widespread frost and freeze of the season likely coming up here as we go into the early portions of next week. Now, we will not stay in this realm the entire week ahead, but we will at least have to tangle with that. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, is this where we should be? Well, obviously, no. The average high is about 67, 66 degrees this time of the year. But is it out of the bounds of reality to see a frost and freeze this time of the year? Absolutely not. This is about where we would normally see our first frost and freeze of the season. First frost, November 3rd. First freeze, November 14th. We're within the bounds of that. So this is about where we should be seeing these things occurring. But there is a quick rebound. Again, this is the month of transition. October and November, typically more months of transition for us, that we go from the much warmer temperatures like we had at the early portion of October, and all of a sudden we start going through these ebbs and flows here through November that, will be more reminiscent of winter from time to time and more reminiscent of fall other times as we warm back up closer to 70 degrees through the end of next week.
A brand new baking show, and joining me on the Action News 5 digital desk, I got some people here ready to talk with me about this baking show on the Hallmark channel, if I could talk this morning. Tamara Housley, Judge Vaughn Vreeland, and Anna, is that you too? She is joining us once again on the Action News 5 digital desk. Everybody, good morning. Tell me about this Baked with Love holiday Hallmark Baking Show. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How's it going?
Hey, we all have those days, huh? When we're talking. Oh, Lord. This baking show is basically, I mean, it's a baking show about the holidays, Christmas. And what makes it different than any other baking show that I've seen is you have the amazing Christmas bakes. Each week, there's a different theme. You have Deck the Halls, Home for the Deck the Halls,
Night Before
Christmas, Winter Wonderland,
12 days.
12 days. But what makes it so special and warm and just filled with so much heart and love is the fact that a lot of these recipes are family recipes, and they've been passed down from generation to generation. So that's, I feel, where the heart really lies in this show, is when these contestants are explaining why these bakes mean so much to them. They tell us a lot about their family stories, and we get to taste them, and they are so lovely.
I love that. I love that. We're looking at some video here. It looks very, very enjoyable, a lot of fun, a lot of smiles, and everyone's getting into that holiday spirit. I don't know about you guys, but it seems like once the temperatures and once the fall weather hits, it's like we're ready for the holiday season, right?
100%.
Oh, yeah. And to me, this is like, I watch baking competition shows to get in the spirit too, and to like get the wheels turning about what am I going to make this season? And there were definitely some bakes and Baked with Love that I was like, okay, well, I need to recreate that for my family table.
Fantastic. Okay, so what else can people expect? Because I know it's premiering on October 27th, which is right around the corner, less than a week away, this Monday. What can people expect that makes it a little bit different than other baking shows out there, especially, other than the holidays, right?
Yeah, I think it's such a gorgeous representation of, each kind of pair's heritage, home kind of bakes that represent what has been passed down to them. So there's beautiful pairs where like there's parents and their children, and they learned at their mother's apron strings. And I think what makes it different is that normally it's an individual, or it's maybe two kind of, friends kind of cooking together. These are family members passionately trying to show what Christmas means to them. And it's so heartwarming and it's so gorgeous, but don't let that confuse you. It's also full of like fear and jeopardy and like stress and chaos. But at the end of each cook, we got incredible, beautiful masterpieces. And, I think you see that a home cook can really push it to the next level where it's almost professional.
Were there some surprises when you guys were recording this? Something that really kind of you weren't expecting? I mean, there always tends to be those kind of surprises, right?
Oh, yeah. I think to me, like the pairs that did really poorly in one challenge during a week would often build themselves back up and be the best pair in the second challenge during the week. And that was always like, sometimes it was very consistently like they did poorly this morning, and then this afternoon they did amazing.
Right.
And that to me was really shocking, because you could just tell that they were so in their own heads about what they were making when they weren't as familiar with the recipe. And then in the kind of like showstopper signature bake, they were so proud of what it was because it was a family recipe and they were familiar with it, that they, once they actually like stopped trying to be perfect and made it with love, that was when it actually became the best possible bake that they could do.
I would also say, being at Hallmark for about 7 years, if you're an avid Hallmark watcher, there's going to be something that pulls at your heartstrings. And this baking show definitely does that. There are times, all three of us have cried and we didn't expect it. It's when you hear the history of these family recipes, it hits you in a certain, way like no other. You literally feel like you've been transported into these pairs, home kitchen. And it just gives you all the feels.
That sounds fantastic. It premieres Monday, October 27th, the series on the Hallmark Channel. Really appreciate your time on the Digital Desk. Thank you so much, and good luck with the season. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We have got some alarming new health data out there that suggests that 9 out of 10 people have certain health risk factors and they don't know or realize that they have it. And we're talking about health conditions that can trigger everything from heart disease, kidney disease, diabetes, all at the same time. Let's talk to somebody who knows about what we're talking about here and some of the latest data that is pretty alarming from what I understand. I'm joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Dr. Tiffany Powell-Wiley. She's a physician. She's also a researcher joining us on the Digital Desk to talk about this new data. So Tiffany, tell us, where do we begin on this? Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Andrew. So we want to make sure that people are aware of cardiovascular kidney metabolic syndrome, or CKM syndrome. And it's really about these interconnected diseases, things like diabetes and obesity, that put you at risk for heart disease and even kidney disease. And it's important to understand that all of these are interrelated, they're all interconnected, and one can put you at risk for the other, but also treatments that are out there can affect risk for each of those. And all of it affects heart health.
So, okay, so cardiovascular kidney metabolic syndrome or disease, explain what that is and maybe some warning signs that our audience would enjoy knowing.
So it's important to know that that CKM syndrome really relates to the fact that conditions like heart disease and kidney disease can't be treated in isolation. These are things that affect each other. And really, we want to emphasize that your body is interconnected. And so when we think of talking to our doctors about risk factors for heart disease, we want to ask not only about our high cholesterol, our blood pressure, and how it relates to our risk for heart disease, but also what does our kidney health look like? And that because that's important to think about as a risk factor for heart disease.
Yeah, I would think so. So this is something where a lot of people, we mentioned off the top that they don't even know that perhaps they are dealing with something that could really change the outcome of their lives, certainly their health. Can you explain a little bit more about what this data is saying and how people need to be more aware of what exactly is going on?
Absolutely. So it's important to think, as you mentioned, that 9 out of 10 U.S. adults have a risk factor for heart disease or kidney disease. Those are risk factors like obesity, diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. And so that's where it's important to know what those risk factors are, know your numbers, ask your physician about your numbers, but also understand that reversing and treating many of these risk factors can actually prevent not only heart disease, but also kidney disease.
Okay, so I was just going to ask you, Tiffany, let's talk about prevention. So if we have one of those and people are, by the way, our thousands of people that are watching, everybody should be getting a physical yearly. And if you have one of these conditions, then what?
So if you have one of these conditions, it's important to know what your numbers look like. Again, know what your blood pressure looks like, know what your cholesterol looks like, but also ask your doctor about treatments that are available, because many of the treatments that are available now for heart disease actually can treat things like kidney disease. And so making sure that you're on the right medications, but also making sure that you get the important physical activity and get the right diet for you. And so that's information that your doctor can help you provide and get the right information for you.
Sure, absolutely. And so we know, diet and exercise very important when it comes to these kind of conditions. What else can we do to perhaps prevent or improve our health with regards to these specific issues?
So the other important thing is to understand what our risks look like. And so we have new ways of measuring heart disease risk. And so one thing to ask your doctor is to use risk calculators that are now available that can try to account for all of the risk factors for, again, it's CKM syndrome, these interconnected risk factors, and start to understand what your long-term risks for heart disease look like.
Okay, CKM syndrome. Tiffany, we appreciate your time on the digital desk. Thank you for illuminating us to these different conditions that in one way or another, they are all connected, and it's something that we need to be aware of. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Wednesday morning. Lots of sunshine, maybe a passing cloud or two, a southwest breeze flow at 10 miles per hour. That pushes the temperatures up from the morning 50s to the 70s this afternoon. We'll call it the mid 70s actually here, and that is a far cry from where we started off the week at, and also where we should be for this time of the year, about 5 to 7 degrees above normal. A pretty stout cold front, though, on the way as we head towards the upcoming weekend across the Mid-South that will usher in a big blast of cold air direct out of Canada, but it comes by way of a couple of different systems. The first system will come through the area as we head towards the afternoon and evening hours of your Friday. That could kick off a few showers and thunderstorms, widely scattered in nature, and then a risk for maybe a gusty storm or two. Behind that, another system will come through the area Saturday into Sunday. That will usher in the colder air that will be more reminiscent of December, not necessarily November. Here's a look at that risk for a few stronger storms coming up on Friday. Again, this will be Friday afternoon and evening. Marginal risk that would include much of West Tennessee and North Mississippi. And there is a slight risk shoehorned in all of this that would more so include Middle Tennessee, but it does clip a part of the Action News 5 coverage area. I think the higher potential, again, near into the east of the Tennessee River for that potential. So we'll just give it a level 1 out of 5 risk. 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Friday. Strong winds being the primary issue. Can't rule out some hail. And there's still a little bit of spin in the atmosphere, especially farther north of I-40 that you go. There may be a slightly better chance that there could be a brief spin-up tornado north of I-40 going into the afternoon, early evening. But keep in mind, this is going to come and go pretty quickly in the grand scheme of things. And behind that system, there's not a lot of cooler air locked up behind it for Saturday. Saturday actually still ends up being a pretty decent day here across the Mid-South. This is lunchtime on Friday. I want to fast forward, give you that first alert to that chance for rain and storms coming into the fold. And again, it will get through early afternoon afternoon without much fanfare. 3, 4 o'clock, we start to see a few isolated showers and thunderstorms beginning to develop right around sunset. Those showers and storms will quickly erupt, move off to the east. And again, quickly, by the time we get towards 10 o'clock, most of the showers and storms out towards Middle Tennessee, East Tennessee. And we're drying out and clearing out in the wake of all of this. But there is at least a risk for a few stronger storms that we'll keep a close eye on for that. Then the bigger blast of colder air will move in here, the secondary front that will move through the area. Again, Saturday still ends up in the 70s. 50s for highs on Sunday. Cold northwest wind blowing in here, and that will usher in even colder air, taking us into your Monday before we slowly begin to rebound in the extended range. Of course, stay up to date with the very latest anytime and everywhere on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. You can download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. 74 for today, tomorrow 76 on Friday. And again, there could be a few storms. We'll keep a close eye on that. We'll be the first to alert you to any changes. But right now, I think that the storms are going to be so widely spaced that many of you will probably get away with the time frame dry, and the risk is overall pretty low. But we're going to keep an eye on it because there is at least some indication and some ingredients in play for a strong storm that could prompt a warning or two during late Friday afternoon into the evening hours. Much quieter for Saturday. Here comes the cold front moving into the area that will take us into your Sunday into Monday, down to 34 degrees going into your your Monday morning. Speaking of Monday morning, here in the city, 34. Outlying areas in the 20s. You see 28 in Ripley, Mississippi, Hayti, Missouri, 28 in Blytheville, Arkansas, 31 in Marks, Mississippi, and Clarksdale, Mississippi, with only a high of 48. And guess what? There's even colder weather early on Tuesday morning. Mid-20s across many sections of the Action News 5 coverage area. We'll be right around freezing here in the city. So our first widespread frost and freeze of the season likely coming up here as we go into the early portions of next week. Now, we will not stay in this realm the entire week ahead, but we will at least have to tangle with that. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, is this where we should be? Well, obviously, no. The average high is about 67, 66 degrees this time of the year. But is it out of the bounds of reality to see a frost and freeze this time of the year? Absolutely not. This is about where we would normally see our first frost and freeze of the season. First frost, November 3rd. First freeze, November 14th. We're within the bounds of that. So this is about where we should be seeing these things occurring. But there is a quick rebound. Again, this is the month of transition. October and November are typically more months of transition for us, that we go from the much warmer temperatures like we had at the early portion of October, and all of a sudden we start going through these ebbs and flows here through November that, yeah, will be more reminiscent of winter from time to time and more reminiscent of fall other times as we warm back up closer to 70 degrees through the end of next week.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk, where our next guest is someone that had so much fun talking with us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk that he's back again to talk about everything that's happening in Shelby County's largest suburb. I'm joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Bartlett Mayor David Parsons. David, good morning. How are you?
We're doing great. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing well, David. So we want to highlight some of the news and notes happening from the city of Bartlett, and I know you have a chock-full menu coming up this month. Tell me about it.
Well, I like to say that we had a great Bartlett Fall Festival, and many of you may want to know who took home the grand champion at our barbecue contest, and it was our fire department. Ended up being the grand champion this year, and we had one of the largest turnout ever. This past weekend, our Bartlett High School band swept all the categories at the Bandmasters. And so we've got many more events coming up. And Andrew, this Friday night, we kick off the Fire Pit Friday. Fire Pit Fridays are back. It's something we did last year. Very, very successful. It's where families can come to the park. We put the fire pit out, we start the fire, and we even have s'mores that they can buy. And they just come around and enjoy a calm Friday evening around the fire pit. And it's great weather for that. Also Friday night, our Bartlett Panthers will be at home playing, I think, Whitehaven in the playoffs. Also, everybody's got, next week is going to be Veterans Day. Next Tuesday, the 11th, is a big day. Every year we have an annual ceremony at W.J. Freeman Park at 10 o'clock. This year our speaker is going to be Air Force Captain Ken Wells will be speaking. And after that, later throughout the month, obviously it's Thanksgiving this month, and we'll be hosting our annual turkey shoot. That's going to be Saturday, November the 15th at Singleton Community Center at 11:30. No turkeys, Andrew, will be harmed.
Okay,
and then,
good. Well, let me stop you for a second and just ask you just a couple of quick questions. First off, firefighters winning a barbecue competition, I'm not surprised. I know several firefighters, and when it comes to food, they are amazing cooking some of the best food that I've ever tasted. So no surprise there. Let me ask you about the fire pit on Fridays. You mentioned, which park is it one more time, just so we clear that up for our audience?
W.J. Freeman Park.
Okay.
That's over off of Bartlett Boulevard. It's one of the largest parks we have in Bartlett.
Absolutely. Okay, so please continue. I know that the holiday spirit is rapidly approaching. People want to get into that holiday spirit. Most wonderful time of the year, and I know Bartlett's headed that way too.
Yes, sir. November the 21st at the same park, Freeman Park, we'll be having our Christmas market and our tree lighting. It was a phenomenal turnout last year. We have vendors there. We light that, I think that's a 32-foot Christmas tree, 30-foot Christmas tree. And we light the Christmas tree. We have Christmas carols singing, and I think we escort Santa Claus in with a police escort. So it really kicks off the Christmas season. It's a great event. And of course, Andrew, that's not our Christmas parade, but we have our Christmas parade on December the 6th at 4 o'clock. And we have that on New Road. It's over off Kirby Whitten and Yale over there. So we're really looking forward to bringing in the season. You can see clips there of the last year's parade. I think we had 70 plus entries into the parade. It's just a great time to bring your yard chairs, sit along the curb there, and enjoy the Christmas parade.
You know, those things really bring it home for so many people out there. And it doesn't matter what age. I mean, young and old, men and women, just all really kind of enjoying something so simple as that. It really brings the community together, doesn't it?
Yes, it's a lot of traditions out here. People have been coming to the parade for many, many years, and it's the thing. It starts the Christmas season, is the Christmas parade, and nothing like going to the Christmas parade and seeing your local church, your local band, or just all the different events and the vendors that we have in the parade.
That sounds great, and like so many others across Memphis and the Mid-South, there's so many things happening this month to get people in that great holiday spirit. Anything else you want to touch on, David, before we let you go?
No, I think that's a full month right there between turkey shoots and fire pits. We'll be having 2 of the Fire Pit Fridays. The first one will be this Friday, the 7th, and the next one will be on the 14th, the following Friday. And then we have a couple of those lined up in the next month in December, the first part of it. But we're really excited about what all we have going on. Obviously, there's always something going on in our Performing Arts Theater. Schools always have something going on, but it's just a good time to enjoy the fall and the great weather we've been having. Of course, the forecast is talking it's going to be Christmas weather here next Monday, what I hear. But it's just a great time to get out, enjoy your community, get involved, and get out and meet the neighbor you never met, or just meet some folks you never met down at a community event.
Absolutely. One more thing before we let you go. We went through a number of different events. Is there a place, perhaps a place online we can check out all those events?
yes, you can always go to the city's website, and also you can join one of the many folks that join us on Facebook. We've got a very active Facebook page in Bartlett, and the events are always on there and on the city website.
Okay, Mayor David Parsons with Bartlett, the city of Bartlett. Mayor, thanks again for joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, and have a wonderful month of November, and we'll look for you 1 month from now in December. Take care of yourself.
Thank you, Andrew. My pleasure.
All right, got it. Thank you. Another live look from our high five camera. As the mayor said, a beautiful day ahead. Look at that, 61 degrees, 9:38. We're back in 1 minute on Action News 5's Digital Desk. David, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Andrew. We really appreciate what you're doing, allowing us to participate in what you're doing there. It's a great thing that you're doing, and we're indeed thankful to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And feel free to take this clip and put it on your Facebook page or your city page, wherever, and share it online, that sort of thing. I think it's really informative for so many people out there.
We'll do it. We'll share the love, Andrew.
Okay, you do the same, Mayor. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Well, students have returned to the classrooms, and there is a new study from Gallup and the Walton Family Foundation. And it finds that student engagement is at a 3-year high. That's great news. I mean, half of high schoolers now say school lets them do what they do best. That's up from 40% just a few years ago in 2023. But here's the thing. Many students say their coursework isn't challenging or relevant. And they are also saying they haven't learned anything interesting recently. Let's talk more about this study from Gallup and the Walton Family Foundation with Romy Drucker. She is with the Walton Family Foundation. And Romy, I was looking at this, I was prepping for this interview. I found it very unusual, and I kind of want to do a little bit of a deep dive into that study. Tell us more. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Andrew. Yes, the study is really important in helping us better understand what students are looking for in their school experiences. 56% of students say they feel ready for the future, but too few feel good about their everyday lives. What we know is that school can be a place that closes that gap by being a spark, helping students feel inspired and engaged, but something needs to change about school to do that.
It's so fascinating to me, so interesting. And so tell us what needs to change. Does it need to be tougher? Does it need to be more relevant? What do you think?
The number one factor we consistently hear from students is relevant. Make my learning and my experience relevant to the world of work and to the challenges and opportunities I'll face in the future. Only 37% of Gen Zers say their learning in school feels connected to the real world. We need to make school a place that brings in experiences and exposure to the world of work, but also gives students the skill sets and mindsets to thrive in their lives more generally. Students are asking for that.
You know what? I can understand that in a way that my kids have moved on to college and afterwards. My daughter just graduated. And I remember them saying, you know, I'm not going to use this in my real life and my profession and what I'm going to do. Why am I learning it now? And I often thought, well, maybe they should focus on, you know, more financial news, more business news, more how to stay financially afloat, investments, that sort of thing. Is that where something like this is headed towards? What do you think, Romy?
There's a school in Memphis called Power Center Academy that's doing this really well, creating interdisciplinary projects and opportunities for students to connect with information and experiences that feel relevant to the jobs of the future. So it's not just learning math and social studies and English, but it's doing that in a context that really bridges to opportunities and challenges students will face in their futures, making it relevant to career, making it relevant to how students will apply that knowledge in college and beyond. Students are saying they want learning to feel connected to the real world, and that's a message we need to rally around as educators and communities.
I love that, and thank you for pointing out that Memphis connection there, Romy. What else can schools do to better connect with students and real-world careers long-term?
One thing we know from this data is that teachers are absolutely a difference maker. Students are telling us that loud and clear. 78% of students say that when teachers make their learning more fun and engaging, they feel more inspired and hopeful about their future. So supporting teachers, really nurturing that human connection between students and teachers is everything. So we need to make sure that we have the right supports in place for teachers so that they can do what they do best.
Really appreciate this discussion, Romy. Where can people go if they want to learn more about the study and perhaps solutions to this disconnect?
You can learn more at waltonfamilyfoundation.org/Gen Z study.
All right, Romy Drucker with the Walton Family Foundation. Thanks for coming on the Digital Desk and talking about a very important issue. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm Sydney Gray in for Andrew Douglas today. We've been bringing you so many different segments today, all about events and things that are happening across the Mid-South. Well, we got to keep that momentum going as we talk about basketball season. Of course, you know, your Memphis Tigers are going to be playing pretty soon here. And there is this thing we got to talk about, the little penny puppet. Y'all remember that? We got a friend who does. Joining me this morning is Mike, I was about to say your name the wrong way. We just talked about how to say your name this morning. Mike Provenzale is here with us on the Digital Desk to talk about the little penny puppet. How you doing, Mike?
Hey, Rio, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining the Digital Desk today. You got someone behind you there. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, the star of the show right here.
Yeah.
This is a production puppet of Little Penny, used for the Nike ad campaign in the 90s. One of the most iconic ad campaigns ever. And it's going to find a new home in about 2 weeks.
That is pretty cool. So tell us a little bit of the background for those youngins who didn't quite grow up in the 90s or see this back in the day. What is this all about?
So in the 90s, Anthony Hardaway was signed to Nike. He had his own shoe line, the Memphis Great, and then he was playing for the Orlando Magic at the time. And Nike came up with an ingenious ad campaign where it was Penny Hardaway and then Little Penny, the puppet. And he was voiced by Chris Rock. And they did a series of commercials, all hilarious. Anthony, very humble guy. Little Penny was the opposite. He had a lot of attitude and was very outgoing and very interested in dating Tyra Banks.
This is so cool to see. Tell us kind of what sparked all this to kind of make its return.
So the consignor reached out to us. He worked on the ad campaign, and when the campaign was over, the head of the project gave him this production puppet as a gift. And it was used in the still photography for the ad campaign. As soon as we saw it, we knew it was going to be a big hit. In the auction business, nostalgia is a huge part of desirability. And for basketball fans and Memphis Tiger fans, Magic fans, and NBA fans, that Little Penny campaign still has legs. The commercials are still hilarious. So we knew it was going to be a big hit. It's currently at $26,000, and we still have over 2 weeks of bidding to go. But you can check out the full story at ha.com.
That was my next question. I wanted to know where the bidding was standing at this point. You said at $26,000 at this point?
Yeah, when the consignor first reached out to us, everyone wants to know what their item's worth. We give free appraisals on anything. Some things are easy to appraise, but one-of-one items like this are a little more difficult. So we estimated it at $30,000, but looks like we underestimated people's interest and the nostalgia factor. So yeah, it's at 26,000 and looks like it's going to exceed that 30,000 estimate. But it's a real one-of-one. We've never seen one before. None have come out and reached the auction block, so this is the first time. We had it on display at our national convention this summer, and it was one of the most popular items at the entire show. Everyone was taking pictures with it, and really it's just an honor to be sitting here next to Little Penny.
It looks really, really cool just to be right there next to you. For people who are watching, whether they're here in Memphis or wherever they may see this online, if they have the cash, they want to get their hands on this, what do they need to be doing right now? How can they bid on this item?
Just go to ha.com. Our fall auction is open. There's over 4,200 items there, cards and collectibles. A little bit of everything for everyone, and this little guy is turning out to have a huge result, and we're excited to see where it ends up on October 25th.
All right. Hey, Mike, thank you so much for your time. Thanks, Little Penny, hanging out with you. This is super, super cool. Anything else you want the folks to know before we go?
Yeah, I would encourage people, if you have something you think is valuable or you want to find out what it's worth, reach out to us at ha.com. We give free appraisals even if you're not interested in selling, and maybe you've got a gem like this one sitting in your house that could turn your life around.
All right, maybe so. Mike, thank you so much. We do appreciate it.
Not only improve quality of life, but also serve as a critical protective factor. Vital thoughts within the past 12 months, research shows that vital thoughts within the past 12 months, research shows that strong social ties not only improve quality of life, but also serve as a critical protective factor against these kinds of things. How is mental health among our veterans? It's so important to check up on them. Joining me on the Action News 5 digital desk, I'm going to talk more about this topic with a couple of people. I have Jacob Narowski. He's an Army veteran. He's a warrior there. I also am joined by Lindsay Tkach. She's a mental and brain health services director for the Wounded Warrior Project. Thank you for both of you joining us here on the digital desk. Jacob, I want to begin with you. Tell us about your mental journey. Good morning.
Good morning. You know, my mental journey really is, it's long. It's years. It's over 14 years spent hanging out the side of a Black Hawk helicopter in austere places all over the world, and seeing and experiencing things that most of us never even dream of. And then coming home, and you come home and those experiences become memories, become stories that come home with you. And so trying to find my place in the world here as a dad, as a husband, as a community member is difficult when you're still kind of holding on to or carrying those memories that come with you. And so it's been so important for me on this journey that people have found me, friends that have kind of carried me through those moments and given me the opportunity to carry them, and just to begin to build a life of connection over this journey.
Well, first off, I appreciate everything that you and your family have done for this country, what you've sacrificed, because there's so many veterans that sacrifice so much to defend what this country stands for overseas. How important was human connection to your overall recovery, Jacob?
Human connection for me and like for so many other veterans is absolutely vital. There has to be somebody that tells you when the demons are lying, as I sometimes say. You have to have people around you that can remind you of your worth, remind you that you're important, that you still have a mission, that there's still more for you to do. And so for me, having those brothers and sisters nearby and having those check-ins has just been absolutely vital. And then learning that I can be the one checking on them as well.
Lindsay, I want to thank you, Jacob. Lindsay, I want to talk with you. And listen, Wounded Warrior Project, it is such an amazing organization. And thank you for all that you do for all the veterans out there. You work specifically in the mental and brain health services. Tell me, when it comes to the biggest challenges that veterans face, what are some of those big challenges out there?
Yeah, great question. So if you take when somebody's transitioning back into civilian life and you look at some of those challenges, you have a situation where somebody was in a very structured environment. They had a support system built in of folks that were like-minded, that they can relate to and are doing the same things. And they had a clear sense of mission and purpose. And then that disappears. They then start to transition out. They lose that sense of purpose. They lose that sense of mission while they're trying to navigate, where are my benefits? What is my family dynamics, my financial situation? What's going to be my next job? And that can be a very overwhelming time for a veteran. And they may also be experiencing, symptoms of PTSD on top of that. And so having connection during that time is going to be so critical. Having that support system of like-minded individuals that might be going through it with you or that have already went through it and can help shepherd, or as Jake said, be the one carrying you. You mentioned our survey. Our survey showed that for wounded warriors who had listed isolation or that lack of connection as a symptom that they were experiencing, they were 3 times more likely to have had suicidal thoughts in the past 12 months. So connection is key.
No question about it. Jake, and I really appreciate you opening up, telling your story to help others. Lindsay, quickly, where can, if perhaps one of our viewers has a family member who's struggling right now, where can they go for help?
I think it's great that you mentioned family member, right? You do not have to be a mental health expert to help somebody who's struggling or to help yourself if you're struggling. I'd recommend going to woundedwarriorproject.org. We're there to support. We stand by ready to connect you to programs, connect you to services, and help build that foundation of connection.
All right, Jacob and Lindsay, we appreciate your time here on the Digital Desk. God bless you both, and thank you for your time.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk here on a Wednesday morning. Lots of sunshine, maybe a passing cloud or two, a southwest breeze flow at 10 miles per hour. That pushes the temperatures up from the morning 50s to the 70s this afternoon. We'll call it the mid 70s actually here, and that is a far cry from where we started off the week at, and also where we should be for this time of the year, about 5 to 7 degrees above normal. A pretty stout cold front, though, on the way as we head towards the upcoming weekend across the Mid-South. That will usher in a big blast of cold air direct out of Canada, but it comes by way of a couple of different systems. The first system will come through the area as we head towards the afternoon and evening hours of your Friday. That could kick off a few showers and thunderstorms, widely scattered in nature, and then a risk for maybe a gusty storm or two. Behind that, another system will come through the area Saturday into Sunday. That will usher in the colder air that will be more reminiscent of December, not necessarily November. Here's a look at that risk for a few stronger storms coming up on Friday. Again, this will be Friday afternoon and evening. Marginal risk that would include much of West Tennessee and North Mississippi. And there is a slight risk shoehorned in all of this that would more so include Middle Tennessee, but it does clip a part of the Action News 5 coverage area. I think the higher potential, again, near into the east of the Tennessee River for that potential. So we'll just give it a level 1 out of 5 risk. 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Friday. Strong winds being the primary issue. Can't rule out some hail. And there's still a little bit of spin in the atmosphere, especially farther north of I-40 that you go. There may be a slightly better chance that there could be a brief spin-up tornado north of I-40 going into the afternoon, early evening. But keep in mind, this is going to come and go pretty quickly in the grand scheme of things. And behind that system, there's not a lot of cooler air locked up behind it for Saturday. Saturday actually still ends up being a pretty decent day here across the Mid-South. This is lunchtime on Friday. I want to fast forward, give you that first alert to that chance for rain and storms coming into the fold. And again, it will get through early afternoon without much fanfare. 3-4 o'clock, we start to see a few isolated showers and thunderstorms beginning to develop right around sunset. Those showers and storms will quickly erupt, move off to the east. And again, quickly, by the time we get towards 10 o'clock, most of the showers and storms out towards Middle Tennessee, East Tennessee, and we're drying out and clearing out in the wake of all of this. But there is at least a risk for a few stronger storms that we'll keep a close eye on for that. Then the bigger blast of colder air will move in here, the secondary front that will move through the area. Again, Saturday still ends up in the 70s. 50s for highs on Sunday. Cold northwest wind blowing in here, and that will usher in even colder air, taking us into your Monday before we slowly begin to rebound in the extended range. Of course, stay up to date with the very latest anytime and everywhere on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. You can download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. 74 for today, tomorrow 76 on Friday. And again, there could be a few storms. We'll keep a close eye on that. We'll be the first to alert you to any changes. But right now, I think that the storms are going to be so widely spaced that many of you will probably get away with the time frame dry, and the risk is overall pretty low. But we're going to keep an eye on it because there is at least some indication and some ingredients in play for a strong storm that could prompt a warning or two during late Friday afternoon into the evening hours. Much quieter for Saturday. Here comes the cold front moving into the area that will take us into your Sunday into Monday, down to 34 degrees going into your your Monday morning. Speaking of Monday morning, here in the city, 34. Outlying areas in the 20s. You see 28 in Ripley, Mississippi, Hayti, Missouri, 28 in Blytheville, Arkansas, 31 in Marks, Mississippi, and Clarksdale, Mississippi, with only a high of 48. And guess what? There's even colder weather early on Tuesday morning. Mid-20s across many sections of the Action News 5 coverage area. We'll be right around freezing here in the city. So our first widespread frost and freeze of the season likely coming up here as we go into the early portions of next week. Now, we will not stay in this realm the entire week ahead, but we will at least have to tangle with that. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, is this where we should be? Well, obviously, no. The average high is about 67, 66 degrees this time of the year. But is it out of the bounds of reality to see a frost and freeze this time of the year? Absolutely not. This is about where we would normally see our first frost and freeze of the season. First frost, November 3rd. First freeze, November 14th. We're within the bounds of that. So this is about where we should be seeing these things occurring. But there is a quick rebound. Again, this is the month of transition. October and November are typically more months of transition for us, that we go from the much warmer temperatures like we had at the early portion of October, and all of a sudden we start going through these ebbs and flows here through November that, yeah, will be more reminiscent of winter from time to time and more reminiscent of fall other times as we warm back up closer to 70 degrees through the end of next week.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Well, 'tis the season to dine downtown, check out all kinds of November events, and really get in to the holiday spirit. It's something that we love doing each and every year across Memphis and the Mid-South, and one of the best ways to do that, whether you're brand new to Memphis or whether you've been here your entire life, is to check out the I Love Memphis blog. We got Jalen Suchek on the Action News 5 Digital Desk to talk more about all the good stuff that's happening in November and dining downtown. Jalen, how are you this morning? Good morning.
I'm good, and I'm better after seeing that weather report and having some good weather on Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, this weather is fantastic. Doesn't really feel, I mean, I guess it's a little bit warmer than where we should be, but I'm here for it. It feels great outside.
And we had that little cold front already, so I'm welcoming this weather coming up.
Yes, we got to enjoy it while the getting's good. So tell us about Downtown Dining Week. I know it coincides with all these great celebratory moves for some of those restaurants downtown with that new Michelin guide for the American South, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously Downtown Dining Week is an annual event. It's underway right now, so it's running through November 9th. And just a quick overview, if you're not familiar with it, it's, traditionally restaurants, bars, coffee shops, bakeries, they're offering a bunch of deals and discounts, three-course meal starting at $20.25, which you cannot beat. They'll do food items that they don't normally offer, just a gambit of deals and discounts, and you can see on the screen there as well. And it's just a great showcase of the downtown dining scene and how diverse and fun it can be. There's just so many good options. Definitely something you want to make reservations for. But yeah, during this, you'll have a chance to try 2 of the new Michelin awarded recognized restaurants, which is The Lobbyist and Felicia Suzanne's. And they both have great deals. So Felicia Suzanne specifically is doing a $39 three-course meal, and you're going to be able to get, their bacon lettuce, fried green tomato salad, which they're famous for an appetizer to start, shrimp and grits for an entree, or beef and pork with some Parmesan risotto, and then you can finish it off with a dessert. They're doing a white chocolate and coconut bread pudding. The Lobbyist also has a great deal as I scroll down through this, because there's so many restaurants. They're doing a three-course meal plus a sweet treat for $46. So that'll have like their famous corn mash, a choice of chicken and dessert as well. So that's a great one. And then, of course, yeah, just riding the high of this recognition that's so important for Memphis's dining scene. Hog and Hominy was also recognized. Obviously, that's out east, but you can try an Andrew Michael restaurant through Little Betty at Wiseacre. And I am just a huge fan of them. I went to Downtown Dining Week last night at Little Betty to try out their deal. It's $25 for a pizza and 2 drinks, which is just a great combination. Their pizza is normally about $19 to $21. So you can add any of their Wiseacre beers with that. They have wine at Wiseacre now. Of course, this is a downtown location. Batch cocktails at NA option. So a great deal. And I mean, we can go on and on because I think there's, upwards again of 55 locations participating this year, which is just great to see. And then again, on that blog, we break everything down, each discount for each restaurant that this provided them. There are parking deals, so people don't have to worry about paying a ton for parking to come downtown. It's like $2 for 2 hours or $4 for 4 hours. And then also what's really cool, that's new this year, Downtown Memphis Commission launched a Saturday Family Day. So on Saturday, you can come down and get exclusive discounts and special admissions to a lot of attractions, like half off to Sun Studio and the Edge Motor Museum. And so we have that linked as well. And then the last part of it this year too, because they went all out this year, is if you save 3 of your receipts or more, you can submit them to the DMC and you can be entered to automatically win a bunch of great prizes from, hotel stays, spa visits, and a bunch of downtown dining discounts. So definitely take a look, make those reservations, plan it out, and support some of these downtown great spots.
They are great spots, and I appreciate you mentioning all of that, because there's a little bit something for everybody, whether it's you're going solo or it's a couple night or you're taking the whole family. Definitely some great spots to check out. I'm gonna have to drink some water, so I'm getting home. I mean, You made me hungry with that. I'm sorry. You
Good.
landed on so many different things. I mean, seriously, so many great food, restaurants, choices, locations, and such a great deal this week, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then new restaurants are participating too. So it's just a great option to try out some new spots. And, we're talking breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So you can hit 3 meals in a day potentially.
Okay, awesome. I got some water. We're good to go. Let's talk now about some of the November events. I mean, I think there's a lot of people just kind of taking surveys in our office here. A lot of people are ready for the holiday spirit. It's the most wonderful time of the year, Jalen.
It is. November is a great kickoff. It kind of feels like every year it gets a little bit earlier and earlier to celebrate, which I'm a big fan of. So, I would definitely kick it off this weekend at Crosstown Concourse for the annual Crafts and Drafts Holiday Market. So that's gonna be on November 9th. It's both an indoor and outdoor event. Especially, if weather were to be bad, but it's looking like it's going to be great, so you don't have to worry about it. It's easy for them to move inside. But this is, a whole setup, a bunch of local vendors. You can browse unique and handmade gifts while supporting local, and then also, having a nice drink along the way. Drinking some local craft beer or some wine, because I think all the best shopping decisions are made with a drink in your hand. And it's a great way just to get a head start on the holiday, the gifts buying, because I mean, if you're like me, every year it's like a week out and you're like, oh no, I haven't even started. So this is a great way to just get it over with. And then if you're still, if you're a little bit on the edge of not wanting to jump right into the holidays, if you're missing Halloween already, there is a Memphis Monster Con also happening this weekend. That's going to be a 2-day event, November 8th and 9th at the Pipkin Building. And this is Memphis's premier horror convention. So 2 days of spooky vendors, horror celebs, appearances, film screenings. So you're going to have panels and photo ops from stars of movies like Pet Sematary, Chucky, Halloween, The Walking Dead. And tickets are, fairly affordable. It's $25 on Saturday, $20 on Sunday. And then you do have an option to add photo op add-ons to meet some of these stars of potentially your favorite movies. And some other great events that are happening this month is we just finished up the Notebook at the Orpheum. My eyes are still puffy from crying, so I'm excited for the next show. It's Anne Juliet, which will be a more fun and light, even though we all obviously know Romeo and Juliet doesn't have the happiest of endings, but this is a fun twist on Shakespeare. It's set to a soundtrack of pop hits from Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys, Katy Perry, so it's perfect date night or girls' night out. And so that'll be running at the Orpheum for November 25th through the 30th. And while we're at it, I do have to plug that we do have some I Love Memphis happy hours happening this month. So you're going to be able to win some tickets to some of the Orpheum events and in Juliet. So I'll quickly go through them. We have this Thursday, we'll be at Rumba Room from 4:30 to 6:30, and we are giving away 2 tickets to the Orpheum Soiree, which is a Back to the Future theme, because that is one of the Broadway shows that will be here later in the season. And then we'll also give you 2 chances to win tickets to gospel Grammy-winning gospel singer Ty Tribbett. He'll be performing at the Graceland Soundstage on November 18th. We'll have a happy hour on November 13th at Old Dominick Distillery. We'll have some good giveaways there as well. And then November 16th, I'm really excited about. It's going to be at the Orpheum. It's going to be at the Pickler Company's Broadway Club, which is a bar space that's normally reserved just for season ticket holders. So they're going to open it up special that night for a little happy hour. And at that one, you can be able to enter to a chance to win 2 tickets to see Anne Juliet, that show that will be here on November 25th and 30th. And I mean, a lot of our attractions towards the end of the month are going to be opening for the season. You have Zoo Lantern, the first Memphis Zoo Lantern Lights. I'm going to have to get the name memorized because we've been so traditionally used to zoo lights. So that will start in the middle of November. And one thing that people have kind of started to do as a tradition that I think is really special is new ballets and ensembles Nut Remix. So that's November 21st to the 23rd at the Cannon Center. And this is very much a Memphis twist on the Nutcracker. So it's set on Beale Street. They blend ballet, hip hop, jukin, West African drumming, Spanish dancing. And then they'll have live music from the Memphis Symphony Orchestra and the Memphis Jazz Workshop. And it's presented by Nike, and it's just a really good display of Memphis creativity and dance. And then You have Starry Nights opening for the season, Holiday Wonders at Memphis Botanic Garden will be opening at the end of the month. The Peabody will be lit up for the holidays. Graceland's going to have their lighting ceremony, and just a lot of fun as we quickly transition out of, Halloween and fall into winter.
No question about it. My gosh, I don't think
There's a lot.
or something. Man, you just went and named like 50 different things. That's fantastic, and it just shows our audience how much stuff you can do in Memphis this month and pretty much every month throughout the year, because there's so many things that are happening. You just got to go and find it, and one of the best ways to find it is the I Love Memphis blog. Anything else before we let you go, Jalen?
Yeah, no, just check out the I Love Memphis blog. We have individual guides for, again, Downtown Dining Week and all those November events that we'll mention. We're working on our Thanksgiving guides right now. So I've started a What's Open on Thanksgiving. I know that's a big question as people, especially people who may be visiting. And we'll have Thanksgiving meal takeout options. We have like a little bit of moment of peace right now before it's going to really gear up for the holidays. So I just encourage everyone to tune in. And again, we always have our weekly weekend guide that we do every Wednesday that gives you everything that's happening Friday, Saturday, and Sunday each week.
Perfect. Jalen Suchek, ilovememphisblog.com. Thanks for coming on the digital desk as you do each and every month, and perhaps sometimes more. We appreciate your time as always on the digital desk. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you. Man, that was a lot of stuff, and it was all good. Really good stuff. Jalen Suchek bringing it each and every time he comes on. Love it. Look at that picture outside there. Downtown Memphis, 65 degrees, 10:13. We're back in 1 minute on Action News 5's Digital Desk.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk here on a Wednesday morning. Lots of sunshine, maybe a passing cloud or two, a southwest breeze flow at 10 miles per hour. That pushes the temperatures up from the morning 50s to the 70s this afternoon. We'll call it the mid 70s actually here, and that is a far cry from where we started off the week at, and also where we should be for this time of the year, about 5 to 7 degrees above normal. A pretty stout cold front, though, on the way as we head towards the upcoming weekend across the Mid-South that will usher in a big blast of cold air direct out of Canada, but it comes by way of a couple of different systems. The first system will come through the area as we head towards the afternoon and evening hours of your Friday. That could kick off a few showers and thunderstorms, widely scattered in nature, and then a risk for maybe a gusty storm or two. Behind that, another system will come through the area Saturday into Sunday. That will usher in the colder air that will be more reminiscent of December, not necessarily November. Here's a look at that risk for a few stronger storms coming up on Friday. Again, this will be Friday afternoon and evening. Marginal risk that would include much of West Tennessee and North Mississippi. And there is a slight risk shoehorned in all of this that would more so include Middle Tennessee, but it does clip a part of the Action News 5 coverage area. I think the higher potential, again, near into the east of the Tennessee River for that potential. So we'll just give it a level 1 out of 5 risk. 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Friday. Strong winds being the primary issue. Can't rule out some hail. And there's still a little bit of spin in the atmosphere, especially farther north of I-40 that you go. There may be a slightly better chance that there could be a brief spin-up tornado north of I-40 going into the afternoon, early evening. But keep in mind, this is going to come and go pretty quickly in the grand scheme of things. And behind that system, there's not a lot of cooler air locked up behind it for Saturday. Saturday actually still ends up being a pretty decent day here across the Mid-South. This is lunchtime on Friday. I want to fast forward, give you that first alert to that chance for rain and storms coming into the fold. And again, it will get through early afternoon afternoon without much fanfare. 3, 4 o'clock, we start to see a few isolated showers and thunderstorms beginning to develop right around sunset. Those showers and storms will quickly erupt, move off to the east. And again, quickly, by the time we get towards 10 o'clock, most of the showers and storms out towards Middle Tennessee, East Tennessee, and we're drying out and clearing out in the wake of all of this. But there is at least a risk for a few stronger storms that we'll keep a close eye on for that. Then the bigger blast of colder air will move in here, the secondary front that will move through the area. Again, Saturday still ends up in the 70s. 50s for highs on Sunday. Cold northwest wind blowing in here, and that will usher in even colder air, taking us into your Monday before we slowly begin to rebound in the extended range. Of course, stay up to date with the very latest anytime and everywhere on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. You can download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. 74 for today, tomorrow 76 on Friday. And again, there could be a few storms. We'll keep a close eye on that. We'll be the first to alert you to any changes. But right now, I think that the storms are going to be so widely spaced that many of you will probably get away with the time frame dry, and the risk is overall pretty low. But we're going to keep an eye on it because there is at least some indication and some ingredients in play for a strong storm that could prompt a warning or two during late Friday afternoon into the evening hours. Much quieter for Saturday. Here comes the cold front moving into the area that will take us into your Sunday into Monday. Down to 34 degrees going into your your Monday morning. Speaking of Monday morning, here in the city, 34. Outlying areas in the 20s. You see 28 in Ripley, Mississippi, Hayti, Missouri, 28 in Blytheville, Arkansas, 31 in Marks, Mississippi, and Clarksdale, Mississippi, with only a high of 48. And guess what? There's even colder weather early on Tuesday morning. Mid-20s across many sections of the Action News 5 coverage area. We'll be right around freezing here in the city. So our first widespread frost and freeze of the season likely coming up here as we go into the early portions of next week. Now, we will not stay in this realm the entire week ahead, but we will at least have to tangle with that. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, is this where we should be? Well, obviously, no. The average high is about 67, 66 degrees this time of the year. But is it out of the bounds of reality to see a frost and freeze this time of the year? Absolutely not. This is about where we would normally see our first frost and freeze of the season. First frost, November 3rd. First freeze, November 14th. We're within the bounds of that. So this is about where we should be seeing these things occurring. But there is a quick rebound. Again, this is the month of transition. October and November, typically more months of transition for us, that we go from the much warmer temperatures like we had at the early portion of October, and all of a sudden we start going through these ebbs and flows here through November that, will be more reminiscent of winter from time to time and more reminiscent of fall other times as we warm back up closer to 70 degrees through the end of next week.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. One of my favorite moments of the week always is talking with my friend Dr. Talisa
room
Franklin
for everybody.
on the
I
Action
love,
News 5 Digital
I like
Desk.
to watch
Give us those
a heavy
upbeat,
streaming
positive,
show that's a
happy
dark
vibes
comedy
each
or
and
dark
every
drama.
Tuesday morning.
But at the
It's
same time,
such
I
a
think that
beautiful morning
multicam
out there.
is
How
there's
are you,
room
my
for us,
friend?
and
Good morning.
there's a hunger for that as
I'm
well.
amazing.
And
I have no
I think
complaints.
about
I tell
shows that
people,
I
why should I
watch when I
complain?
want
There's enough
just
people in that lane, so I want to be in the happy lane. So I'm gonna stay happy.
I feel you, Talisa. I certainly do. And you got some great events on the way. Let's hear it.
Absolutely. This Thursday, y'all, the Best in Black Awards. Listen, y'all, let's make sure we pack out the Central Station Hotel. It's going to be a grand time celebrating those Black businesses right here in the city of Memphis. And we're identifying who is the best in Black. And so, listen, I'm super excited for the Tri-State Defender for continuing a legacy of highlighting great businesses right here in the city of Memphis. And so it's happening November the 6th, Thursday night. Make sure you be there for the Best in Black Awards. I cannot wait to see you there. And then, y'all know it's Christmas time, Christmas time. I'm getting all excited about Christmas, right? Christmas is such a great time for love, your family, your community. And so, listen, we got Christmas in Cordova. So, we're excited that on December the 5th, we're kicking off our inaugural Christmas in Cordova at the Agri Center. We are now looking for school choirs, church choirs to participate. Let's bring in the holiday season in at the Agri Center in Cordova, Tennessee, with Christmas caroling and just bringing people together, loving people together. So I'm inviting you all to participate. If you're high school, elementary school, middle school, you got a choir, we want you. If you are a community choir, we want you. If you're a church choir, we want you. There is absolutely no fee for your choir to participate in this grand event at the Agri Center. Make sure you go to Bluff City Christmas and sign your choir up today. It's going to be a great time, I must admit. And shout out to Commissioner Sable Otay and State Representative Antonio Parkinson for their support of this grand event because it's Christmas in Cordova. And then the following week, y'all, we have Christmas Parade. Y'all know every year I am super grateful to put on the Bluff City Christmas Parade Raleigh edition, and it's happening on December the 13th. So if you want to be a part of the parade, if you're a school, you're a band, you're a business, you're a brand, whatever your organization is, if you want to be a part of this grand parade, I need to have you to register online at Bluff City Christmas. Listen, we go straight down Austin P Highway. It's always a festive time. And what's a parade without Santa? And so, y'all, we have a great time. And I'm always grateful that every year for the last 5 years I've done this, you've been blessed to also see the parade right here on the desk. And so you never know what little treat you may see this year. You never know. So keep your eyes and ears open. So you better be in that parade. All right. So yeah, Andrew, it's going to be a great time, I must admit.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's going to be great. And everyone loves the holidays, right? I mean, it's just, it puts a smile on your face no matter where you are. And that reminds me of you, Talisa. I mean, you're just putting a smile on everybody's face talking about these wonderful events. We always appreciate your time on the digital desk. Thank you.
Thank you. Love y'all.
All right, welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. I want to show you this. This is The Happy Place, and this is a hit comedy on NBC, and the second season premieres this Friday on NBC. I'm joined
Like your hair like that.
News 5 digital
Pretty.
desk by a couple of ladies who
Is that from the first
starred in
season?
The Happy Place. I'm happy to be joined by Belicia Escobedo and Melissa Peterman on the Action News 5 digital desk. Ladies, good morning to you. Did I nail your name?
It was beautiful. You did great.
You did great.
Yeah.
You did perfect.
Okay. Excellent. So listen, you're in the second season of The Happy Place. For our audience out there, I'm sure there's plenty of fans, but for someone who hasn't seen it, how would you describe The Happy Place, and why do you think it's resonated with enough to get a season number 2?
I think Happy's Place, it's a multicam. It's that feel-good family sitcom that you're going to love. You got Reba McEntire at the top of it, and it's a workplace comedy. It all takes place in the Happy's Place, which is the tavern. Belisa is Bobby's half-sister. She finds out about at the beginning of season 1. And it's, to me, and you can, for you, how you see it, I see it as your chosen family. And this is a workplace comedy, and they're each other's family. And it's very fun, very feel-good, funny. And for the fans out there that love season 1, you're going to love season 2. We got great guest stars. It's we dial it up. We dial up the volume. We turn it up.
Okay. I was just going to say, and I'll give you a second, Belisa, to weigh in here. But for everyone who is unfamiliar, it's Bobby, who's Reba McEntire. She inherits her father's tavern, which is the Happy Place, and is surprised to discover that she has a new business partner, which is Isabella Belicia, and a
Right
sister
here.
that she never knew that she had. So, and then in season 2. We're going back to the happy place, and there's some secrets and stuff involved, right? Am I right? Give me more.
Yes, there's a lot, a lot of secrets were obviously revealed season 1. But
you've got a sister.
Boom, you've got a
You've got a
sister.
sister.
But, season 2, we're going to see kind of more of the roots of that, like, storyline. And we also see Bobby and Emmett, Reba and her real life fiance, Rex. They get to develop their relationship on camera a bit more. And that's how we left off the end of season 1, is like the will they, won't they of the two of them. And so season 2, we start right off with that, and kind of how that's going to play out with the rest of us at the tavern.
Yeah. Which is always fun to see, because Reba and Rex in real life are obviously they are
together. They're very
engaged.
cute.
So watching them play an on-screen romance has been really fun for us, and I think for the audience at home as well.
And for them, they're having so much fun together. Way too much
fun. And we've got great guest stars coming back. We've got Joanna Garcia from the original Reba show. We've got Christopher Lloyd, Carol Kane, Sherry O'Terry. Just so much more for everyone to enjoy.
Yeah.
And if you don't know about it, go stream the entire first season on Peacock and then get ready to watch on Friday night season 2.
I appreciate that, Melissa. Thank you for getting that in there. So, for someone who's never been on a sitcom or on the set of a show like this, what is it like?
Well, I think, for the both of us, we both got our starts in theater. And so it really is a combination of, film and theater. When we bring in our live audience, I always tell people it is like electric. To be acting in front of them, electric, but even just being there, the crew gets so much energy from them. It's really a beautiful thing.
I love it because, I've been so lucky that I've gotten to do multicam and single cam. Like Young Sheldon it's such a great show to do, but when you're in a single cam, you're not always with your cast. You're only with the people that you're in those scenes with that day, and which is its own fun element, and I love that. But a multicam, you're with your cast every day rehearsing, and so you really have a camaraderie that you don't always get because you're often in trailers or sitting around waiting. So I love it. I love the genre. I think there's a thirst for that multicam sitcom that everyone can watch together, and we hope that everyone comes to watch us Friday night and belly up at the bar at Happy's Place.
All right, Melissa, thanks for coming on the digital desk and telling us about it. Friday night, it is going to be on. It is 7 o'clock Central Time. That's where we are here in Memphis in the Mid-South. We appreciate your time on the digital desk. Good luck and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You got it. All right. Another live look from our High Five camera as we go to break on this beautiful Wednesday. Look at that. A beautiful day it is. 65 degrees, 10:30. We're back in 1 minute on Action News 5 Digital Desk.
Say the names again for us.
Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Appreciate that. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We have a news conference that we're going to join in right now. This is about the UPS crash that left 7 people dead. Let's listen in to get the latest information from them. Hey, something's wrong, Joel. I can't hear anything on this. Can you hear it? Is there a way to get it on? Okay, let me know if you can get it on something else, because we're not getting any sound. I apologize. We are not getting any sound. We're working on that right now. In the meantime, I want to go to our forecast. Let's get an update on our forecast with meteorologist Patrick.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Wednesday morning. Lots of sunshine, maybe a passing cloud or two, a southwest breeze flow at 10 miles per hour. That pushes the temperatures up from the morning 50s to the 70s this afternoon. We'll call it the mid 70s actually here, and that is a far cry from where we started off the week at, and also where we should be for this time of the year, about 5 to 7 degrees above normal. A pretty stout cold front, though, on the way as we head towards the upcoming weekend across the Mid-South. That will usher in a big blast of cold air direct out of Canada, but it comes by way of a couple of different...
Okay, we're going to join this news conference right now. This is on the UPS crash that happened yesterday afternoon in Louisville, Kentucky, that killed at least 7 people. Let's take a listen.
That include the Kentucky National Guard, Kentucky Office of Homeland Security, Louisville EMA, the Airport Police Department, Louisville Metro Police Department, Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, St. Matthews Police Department, Shively Police Department, Kentucky State Police, Louisville Metro EMS, the Metro Sewer District, Louisville Gas and Electric, Kentucky Emergency Management, Kentucky Emergency Management Urban Search and Rescue Task Force 1, Kentucky ERC-ERT, the Jefferson County Emergency Management, the Jefferson County Coroner, the National Weather Service, the FBI, and there are more. There have been over 200 first responders that were on the scene last night, and there is a significant amount of resources in the search and rescue, and ultimately what is probably by now the recovery effort that is occurring. I want to thank everybody who was working overnight when it was dangerous, when there was other flammable or explosive materials. But they were searching to try to find any and all survivors and to locate any bodies to try to give families the closure that they deserve. As of this time, we can confirm that there have been 9 fatalities, but I'm now fairly confident that that number will grow by at least 1. We hope it doesn't grow by too many more. I believe by this afternoon we'll have a pretty good grasp of both the number of fatalities and, if there are any, the number of missing persons that we're still looking for. Remember, there's a Victim Family Reunification Center at the Louisville Metro Police Training Academy, which remains open. That address is 2911 Taylor Boulevard. As of last night, there had been 16 different families there. I think the mayor's providing an update where that number may now have shrank. At least information I'm getting is those families may not line up with the hospital patients, which means we've got to continue to search that site, hope and pray for the best, but know there may be more loss of life that we're going to learn about today. 2 businesses were directly impacted: Kentucky Petroleum Recycling and Grade A Auto Parts. Thankfully, a local restaurant that is right there that we had great concern would be impacted and we would lose whoever was in it, was missed and now is helping the search and rescue. We're grateful for them. Another blessing is this plane could have potentially hit the major Ford factory or the convention center. Those are all close by and did not. The radius for the shelter in place has been significantly reduced. Louisville Metro is putting out guidance to residents and businesses immediately around the crash site to not consume water. EEC, the Energy and Environment Cabinet, is working closely with the city on this. Other areas are safe. Now, if you are in the suburbs, if you're in other parts of Louisville, you are as safe today as you've been any other day. The air is fine, your water is fine, but that immediately around the crash site, we're just trying to be very careful. In new news today, following yesterday's events, I'm declaring a state of emergency to help us deal with this plane crash. It allows us to move resources more quickly through emergency management and the Kentucky National Guard. It allows state resources to be used also through our agencies to be readily available, including disaster resource management, expenses related to response, and more, as well as reimbursement. It's going to help to make sure that groups that are already limited in terms of their funding can get some immediate or short-term help as they wait for reimbursement for the costs that they've expended. Additionally, I've taken action to establish the Team Kentucky Emergency Relief Fund to help those affected by this terrible event. The URL for this site is going to be on the screen. Similar to previous storm disaster funds, every dollar donated will go directly to those affected. In fact, what we've done is we've gone and amended the Team Kentucky Storm Relief Fund to now allow families impacted by a disaster like this to also benefit from the generosity of Kentuckians. Remember, the first thing that we pay for out of these funds are funerals, so that in a time of grief, nobody is worried about that. In Kentucky, we grieve together and we support one another. Donations will help pay for funerals and for response, recovery, and rebuilding. All right, while Kentucky is responding to this crisis in Louisville following yesterday's deadly plane crash, we must also remember the challenges that our families are facing due to a lack of SNAP benefits brought on by the Trump administration. This is a program that was under attack early by the president following the big, ugly bill. That's why in June I wrote a letter to Kentucky's congressional delegation urging them to consider the harmful impacts of this legislation.
There is a live news conference from the governor of Kentucky there, Andy Beshear. Right now he says there is a confirmation of now 9 fatalities, and he is expected for that total to grow at least one more. There are several missing persons that they are still looking for. Again, this is all about the UPS crash that happened as the plane was taking off from Louisville International Airport. 2 businesses he mentioned that were damaged there, and that he is declaring a state of emergency so they are able to move resources more quickly to the areas that need them the most. So we'll continue to follow this and see if there are any other news items of note that we should pass along to you. But again, this was just a horrific scene that happened yesterday afternoon. This is video moments after the plane crashed. Again, UPS plane taking off, going up in a ball of flames right now. Yesterday afternoon, 9 fatalities, some missing persons still unaccounted for that they are looking for. Number of different businesses damaged. A state of emergency has been declared as a result of this, and we'll continue to watch it here in the Action News 5 digital desk. I want to go right now to a major construction project that is underway downtown with the Orpheum Theater Group. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. The Orpheum Theater Group's downtown campus, so that consists of the Halloran Center, the Orpheum Theater. They're undergoing an exterior renovation that you're going to be seeing more and more of, this revitalization project. Let's get an update on the project, what to expect, and what it's going to look like when it's done. I'm joined on the Action News 5 digital desk by Daiquiri Baptiste. She is the Vice President and COO of Orpheum Theater Group, joining us on the digital desk. Daiquiri, good morning to you. So tell me about the ideas behind this. Was it something that just, it needed time? It was time to get this so-called facelift? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today? The whole project really just stemmed from wanting the city to understand that both the Halloran Center and the Orpheum Theater are the same organization. We are a campus. We're not 2 standalone buildings. And we wanted our audience, our patrons, and just downtown residents to understand that we have a space not just inside of our doors, but outside of our doors.
Okay, and so I have some renderings here. Talk me through what we're seeing here, and is this what it's going to look like?
That is the goal. Yes, this is exactly what it's going to look like. From our board of directors to our president to our esteemed staff and team, we recognize that we have a lot of blank canvases that we want to paint with places to gather. So the Main Street Plaza is going to be phase one, is what we're calling it. You'll see a huge O that will shape the space. We want to create some Instagrammable moments, and we felt like that O that everyone is so familiar with in our name should be one of those landing spots. We're also going to do some illumination and add more lighting out in our spaces and add some seating so that it is welcoming. People may want to walk by, sit out there and have a lunch and just be right there on Main Street, and or right before a performance, you want to have people to come downtown to say, hey, meet me at the O, meet me in the middle between the Orpheum and the Halloran before we enter one of the spaces. We've already added some lights that was across Bill Street last year, which is again also helping with adding more light, more gathering, if you will, around our spaces. Phase two of our project will take place on the corner of Beale and Front Street in the back of our building. That's the image you're seeing there. Again, another infamous O, a big splash on the back of our campus, which is currently now just a basic parking lot. We hope to do engagement opportunities in both of those spaces, and more particularly in the back on the front and Beale corner.
What brought this about? Is it just one of those things where, hey, look, it's time to upgrade a little bit?
That's exactly it. We recognize that we've done a lot of improvements inside of our spaces. The Halloran Center is only 10 years old. The Orpheum will be 100 years old in 2028. And we just decided that it made sense to do things that were outside, just so we didn't look so bare, if you will. We took it upon ourselves to want to do this, to be good neighbors.
So many people have enjoyed the Orpheum over many years, the Halloran Center over the last 10 years, as you mentioned. Does it mean that they're going to close at any point, or are they going to lose seats or anything like that?
Not at all. Our goal always with all of our projects is to have continuous business continuity. So working with our contractors and our architects, along with our programming that we do inside, the goal here is to not be able to stop business. We may have some signs that say, pardon our disturbance, pardon our construction, and with safe ways to walk around while it's going on. But there's no reason to believe that we will have to stop our operations that we're currently doing in order to complete these projects.
Okay, great. So what's the timetable for all this?
Well, phase one, which is the Main Street campus, we're slotted to start that work from a construction standpoint late November, early December, with a hopeful completion date by middle to late spring. And then phase two will start shortly thereafter, hopefully in Q4 of 2026, to then hopefully be completed preferably in that same timeline. But the ultimate goal is that by November of 2028, when we'll be celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Orpheum Theater, all of this work will be done, and our campus will not just be vibrant on the inside, but be fully activated on the outside, welcoming people not just to shows, Broadway, or music, but anything we could possibly imagine outside.
Fantastic. Okay, so anything else you wanted to mention to our audience? We have thousands of people who join us each and every morning.
I just want to say thank you so much for already being patrons of the arts that enter our spaces. And please spread the word. Please know that the Orpheum Theater Group is here to celebrate the city of Memphis, and that we want to, with these projects, be able to lift up even more artists in our spaces.
Fantastic. All right, Daiquiri Baptiste, we appreciate you coming on the digital desk and telling us about this exciting project that'll really transform that whole area, the downtown theater district, if you will, for November 2028, the 100th anniversary of the Orpheum. I love it. Thanks for coming on the digital desk. We appreciate your time. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We are in the midst of the holiday season, and I want to show you just a little bit of this. This is Holiday Wonders at Memphis Botanic Garden, a tradition for so many Memphians and Mid-Southerners each and every year going to Holiday Wonders. And guess what? It is that time of year once again. I'm joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Jenna Harris. She's going to tell us more about Holiday Wonders. Jenna, I can't believe the year is just flying by, and here we go. We're in the midst of a holiday season. Good morning.
Yeah, I feel like we were just taking the lights down from last year, and now we're putting them all back up, and even bigger and more lights and better than ever.
So tell us about this year and the Holiday Wonders, maybe a little bit of history, what goes into it, how long it's been around, and maybe anything new this year.
Yeah, so we've been doing Holiday Wonders in a few different ways for about 20 years now. For about the last 17, it's been in our children's garden, which is my big backyard. And that area has traditionally been called Snowy Nights in my big backyard. And then we expanded a little bit about 8 or 9 years ago, and we expanded into Holiday Wonders, where we went further into the garden, and we have now our rose garden is lit up with our Under the Stars lounge. We have the great lawn is set up with reindeer games, with all kinds of fun activities. But this year we're growing even more. We've added about 4 acres of new installations to this year's show. We'll be going through our woodland, which is going to be a really magical show. We're partnering with a local group called Infinity Stairs, and Infinity Stairs is installing a show that is going to take you essentially into the magic of Christmas. It'll be how does Santa make it from all the different places around the world. So you'll go through a portal into the North Pole that explains all the magic in a really fun and exciting way. And then that's going to loop you back around into our sensory garden here, which we've never incorporated our sensory garden before. But as you can see, we've got this gorgeous crepe myrtle that's kind of the star of the show right out here. And the sensory garden is an enclosed space. So it's a garden that you can get in, and you'll be immersed under all of the lights that are throughout there. So yeah, we're growing. It's a lot bigger and better. We've got some new fun things for the kids. We had our stomp lights. That's one of their favorite things that we have. And then now we're going to have some seesaws and some swings, things that the kids can really engage with and explore. New photo ops. We'll have a gingerbread village in my big backyard. So everybody's favorites that they've come and seen for years and years, and a lot of new stuff to see.
That sounds great. Really amazing. I love seeing the transformations of these different events that are happening at Memphis Botanic Garden. So tell us when we can bring our families, we can bring our kids, when we can go.
Yeah, so we'll open the day after Thanksgiving. That's our opening night. We'll be open on select weekends from the day after Thanksgiving through December 30th. And tickets will go on sale on the 7th. You can go to our website, membg.org. You can get on there. Grab your tickets early. We do have timed entry, and a lot of times those earlier tickets do sell out pretty quick. So make sure you get online, get the date that you want to come, and we look forward to having everybody come out and celebrate the season here at the garden.
How much are tickets, Jenna?
So we have ticket prices are $15 for members, $17 for non-members. But if you wait and you buy on the day of, that's going to be $20. So get those tickets early. You get a little bit of a discount there. There's no charge for parking. Parking is included with that. And then we'll have some sips and snacks. We'll have food trucks here where you can grab a bite to eat while the kids are enjoying the reindeer games area, and grab some hot cocoa and sit down and just enjoy the season with your family.
It's such a tradition for so many people out there. Do you hear that kind of feedback from your perspective?
We do. We have a lot of people that have been coming to this for years and years. And, you know, even if you've been coming for years and years, like I said, there's a lot of new things going on. We also do a lot of specialty nights. New for us this year, one of our specialty nights is going to be Happy Hula Days. So we have a tropical glass house here that we're really proud of, but we're really proud of those plants too. And so we typically don't open that up during holiday wonders because those tropical plants don't like the winter chill. But for Happy Hula Days, which is going to be on the 17th this year, you'll get to actually go in and explore the tropical glass house. So kind of like Frosty going into the greenhouse to get warmed up. You can go through there, see that. We'll have a ukulele player out here doing some activities. But there's a lot of different theme nights. We'll have our Snow Queens night where we have Anna and Elsa here. We have a Let It Glow night. We have some glow performers that'll be on site. So, you know, just check it out. Santa's here every Sunday. It's Santa Sundays. We even have a night for our little four-legged friends. So they can come on the 11th, explore, take their picture with Santa, put them in their cute little costumes. We have some extra costumes here if you want to put a Santa hat on your pup. And yeah, there's just all kinds of fun nights to come. You can come multiple nights, and then after Christmas, we'll have what we call Afterglow. So at Afterglow, we'll have our fire pits set up. You can come, kind of bring the family, everybody take a minute just to, you know, sit back, relax, you know, think about all the things you did during the holiday season while you're roasting a s'more over a warm fire.
I love it. All right. Well, Jenna Harris, we appreciate your time on the Action News 5 Digital Desk talking about holiday wonders. Going to be bigger and better this year. We can't wait, and it's going to be here before we know it. Appreciate your time as always on the Digital Desk. Thank you.
All right, thanks for having us.
North of I-40 going into the afternoon, early evening. But keep in mind, this is going to come and go pretty quickly in the grand scheme of things. And behind that system, there's not a lot of cooler air locked up behind it for Saturday. Saturday actually still ends up being a pretty decent day here across the Mid-South. This is lunchtime on Friday. I want to fast forward, give you that first alert to that chance for rain and storms coming into the fold. And again, it will get through early afternoon without much fanfare. 3-4 o'clock, we start to see a few isolated showers and thunderstorms beginning to develop right around sunset. Those showers and storms will quickly erupt, move off to the east, and again quickly by the time we get towards 10 o'clock, most of the showers and storms out towards Middle Tennessee, East Tennessee, and we're drying out and clearing out in the wake of all of this. But there is at least a risk for a few stronger storms that we'll keep a close eye on for that. Then the bigger blast of colder air will move in here, the secondary front that will move through the area. Again, Saturday still ends up in the 70s. 50s for highs on Sunday. Cold northwest wind blowing in here, and that will usher in even colder air, taking us into your Monday before we slowly begin to rebound in the extended range. Of course, stay up to date with the very latest anytime and everywhere on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. You can download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. 74 for today, tomorrow 76 on Friday. And again, there could be a few storms. We'll keep a close eye on that. We'll be the first to alert you to any changes. But right now, I think that the storms are going to be so widely spaced that many of you will probably get away with the time frame dry, and the risk is overall pretty low. But we're going to keep an eye on it because there is at least some indication and some ingredients in play for a strong storm that could prompt a warning or two during late Friday afternoon into the evening hours. Much quieter for Saturday. Here comes the cold front moving into the area that will take us into your Sunday into Monday, down to 34 degrees going into your your Monday morning. Speaking of Monday morning, here in the city, 34. Outlying areas in the 20s. You see 28 in Ripley, Mississippi, Hayti, Missouri, 28 in Blytheville, Arkansas, 31 in Marks, Mississippi, and Clarksdale, Mississippi, with only a high of 48. And guess what? There's even colder weather early on Tuesday morning. Mid-20s across many sections of the Action News 5 coverage area. We'll be right around freezing here in the city. So our first widespread frost and freeze of the season likely coming up here as we go into the early portions of next week. Now, we will not stay in this realm the entire week ahead, but we will at least have to tangle with that. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, is this where we should be? Well, obviously, no. The average high is about 67, 66 degrees this time of the year. But is it out of the bounds of reality to see a frost and freeze this time of the year? Absolutely not. This is about where we would normally see our first frost and freeze of the season. First frost November 3rd, first freeze November 14th. We're within the bounds of that. So this is about where we should be seeing these things occurring. But there is a quick rebound. Again, this is the month of transition. October and November, typically more months of transition for us, that we go from the much warmer temperatures like we had at the early portion of October, and then all of a sudden we start going through these ebbs and flows here through November that, yeah, will be more reminiscent of winter from time to time and more reminiscent of fall other times as we warm back up closer to 70 degrees through the end of next week.
All right, that does it for us here in the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We got midday coming up at the top of the hour. Join me tomorrow at 7 o'clock for another edition of the Digital Desk. We'll see you then.
I don't know why I want to put the E in there again. Right, because